Okay, we are recording. We are live at the Seth house. It is 3:59, so one more minute, and Oshara is sitting having a bite to eat. And I see Lydia is on. Hi! Hi, Lydia. Let me go into...
And unmute. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm in Vermont.
Hi, Audrey. I hear birds.
That's me.
I see Audrey on.
I'm back outside.
And I see Lydia. I see you're outside, but it is beautiful today.
It is, it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what's going on with Lydia. Lydia is, I'm going to unmute you, Lydia. And I'm going to say, go ahead and start your video.
I'm not doing a video.
Oh, this is Lydia. Okay, you're not doing a video. All
I'm
right.
not doing a video.
Okay. All righty. All right, so let's give it a few more minutes for people to show up. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Beautiful here in Vermont.
All right, who's in Vermont?
Lydia's in Vermont.
Lydia's in Vermont. Where are you, Audrey?
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Ah,
And we're in New York, so we're all Northeasters.
yeah, and it's a beautiful day every place.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so I see Regina is on Facebook. Penny is on Facebook, and Mo Chen. Mo Chen wants to know how to attend meetings. So let's see here. Let me reply to her. It's hard to run this and to run Facebook at the same time. Oshara is eating. All right, let's see. Wow, who's got the pretty bird?
Me, Audrey.
Audrey, okay.
Two cardinals.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, guys, my computer won't let me do this. So if you're on Facebook, go underneath this and you can see the event. Let me find it. It just won't let me copy the link.
You mean just...
If you can go to your computer.
Hi, guys. So people need instructions. Hi, Audrey, Lydia.
Hey.
Hi, girls.
Hi.
We're happening. So you need to give instructions to the people on Facebook?
Copy the link and put it in your Facebook Live.
Okay.
All right, my computer just started going there. So.
Oh, you can do it now?
Hold on. Well, I'm going to try.
Oh, we're just such techno savages. Every week's a new week. We find out, hey, we got it. Oops, we're learning more.
Well, the thing is it's really, I'm using a computer that is so old, it's so slow.
So if they're watching on Facebook, they're watching on our Facebook page.
Yes.
Just go to the top.
So I'm clicking on the live event, and here is the link. So all you need to do, so I just put the link in Facebook. All you have to do is click on the URL, and then it'll ask you for your password. It is 458.
If it doesn't ask, that's fine.
Yeah.
It didn't ask me this time.
Oh, great.
No, I didn't have to use it, so
Okay.
they might just get straight in.
Okay, so maybe if you've used it before, it remembers it. I'm not positive. Garrick Glidden is on. He said he will pop in and out. Good. That's
Welcome.
fine. Right.
It's working.
It is working now.
We are just whiz bangs here.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patience, everyone. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Just have a good laugh at us, on us. We're here to enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
So this is the opening act, techno wizardry.
Right. So Lydia, this is
Yes.
your time on?
I'm sorry, say again?
Is this your first time on Zoom?
Yeah, no, not on Zoom, but my to this group, yes.
Far out. Welcome, welcome,
I
welcome.
just saw a post on, I think it's called Seth Connections, that new website
Yes.
started.
It's
And I
Seth
was just
Director.
scrolling down, reading it, and they said, oh, we have a Zoom meeting at 4 p.m. on Sundays. I'm like, what? So
Yeah.
I stopped by.
Fantastic. That's Seth Directory, and my friend Jeff, he was
Yeah.
on this Zooming program show last week, and we got to talk about what he was doing. He just launched that 2 weeks ago.
Well, maybe he's the one that posted about it. I don't know. I mean, about this, the Zoom meeting.
Yes. Well, actually, everybody can sign up for themselves. So we were like, Kate and I were like the first people to sign up on his directory, SethDirectory.com. And so that we posted that too, this thing, and then more and more people are signing up for it. It's really exciting what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you found it through that. I love
Yeah.
Jeff. He's a great guy.
All right, so we have, oh good, Regina found her way in. Great. Hi, Regina.
Hi.
So the Zoom link I did worked.
We're doing it. Okay, girls.
And there's Miriam. Hi, Miriam.
Hot diggity. So that's working. That's working.
Zoom had an automatic update. Wouldn't connect me to the second.
Oh,
Yes, yesterday they are mandatory, they're changing, they're just, everything is changing.
yeah, I have to keeping up with them. So they're the most popular thing on Earth right now is Zoom. So they're trying to keep up with all the changes too. So
I couldn't connect at all with Facebook. So
oh, Facebook wouldn't let you connect. They let me connect. Okay. Oh well.
I could connect, but I couldn't talk.
Oh
Right, and you can't. Facebook is one way only. You
Oh.
can't on Zoom.
yeah.
That's why I read what the people say over
Yeah.
there.
Facebook can only listen and type. Oh, there's Ned. Hey, dude.
Hi, Ned.
Ned.
So 6 women to 1 man. We won.
We win.
Always.
All right, Mo Chen, she's on Facebook. Let me send her a special note. She's asking how to get in.
That says hi. Oh, I've got to get the lighting right.
Yeah.
Seth is in the room.
Hey.
Seth is always in the room.
I know he doesn't pay rent, but we're always glad to have him.
Do you know what color? Did James have bottles in the window like you do?
Yes, but they were probably that antique brown. You know, I remember my mother had windows there was just this. People had bottles in their windows when I was a little girl back in the early 60s. You know, I don't know why, but they did, and it's usually brown with a little bit of rainbow hint to them. It's interesting bottles. Yeah.
Or they'd have cracked cranberry glass or something.
I don't know exactly what it was, but you know, someday we'll know someone who knows, and then we'll, you know, more facts.
People like to see the sun shine through them.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you had water in the bottles, the sun would come through rain. I think that's why they did it. That's what I remember
Who's
anyway.
talking?
Oh, this is Lydia.
Oh.
Lydia from Vermont.
And she's just going to be audio only.
I think that's why they did it.
And Mo Chin, you made it on. Hello, Mo Chin.
Hello,
Lydia from Vermont.
Where are you calling us from, Mo Chin?
I'm from Belgium.
You're in Belgium right now?
Hello.
Great.
Hello.
You're the first international one. Today. From Mo Chin.
And I'm from Belgium.
Yeah, Belgium. Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Welcome.
Does someone have Facebook on right now? Because there's a little delay with Facebook. So we. Oh, another person.
Might be me.
Penny, you made it. if someone has Facebook on at the same time as international Facebook.
I shut mine off.
Yeah, go ahead and let's everybody turn off.
I shut mine off too.
Yeah, let's turn that off so we're just, or just turn the sound off on Facebook. Because it's fun to watch what people are typing on Facebook, what they're typing here on Zoom, but we can only have this audio feed, so we don't all think all, static.
It's really easy to mute yourself when you're not speaking, and that way we don't hear this audio feed.
I can't hear what you just said, Kate.
Oh, you can, it might be good too if you're not speaking and you have background noise. When you're not speaking, push the mute yourself. That way if some weird sounds come by, you can have it muted, but then when you want to talk, you can put yourself back on. But we love Regina's parrot. Regina's parrot.
We saw pictures of him.
Yeah, you know what he looks like, all right.
Background
And
noise.
now he's 22 years old, which, he got toys, but he basically is just being as mischievous as usual.
But he's read all the Seth books, right?
Oh, yeah, he's very familiar with Seth. Has been for a long time.
And he quotes separately.
Yeah, you know what he looks like, all right.
Somebody needs to mute.
I'm gonna,
He got toys, but he basically is being
Somebody has Facebook on, or is it you, Kate?
no.
No, okay.
It was Penny.
It
was Penny. I muted you. Now.
It's
you-
okay, Penny.
You can unmute yourself if you want to talk, but what we're hearing a little lag. So when the voice is coming through on your computer, we're then hearing it back on ours.
Yeah, if you have Facebook on, we're hearing. So
It's not even Facebook.
you're in the penalty
Yeah,
box at the
yeah.
hockey game now. No, you're not.
So Penny, if you want to speak, in the lower left-hand corner is the unmute button. All you have to do is click it. You'll unmute yourself, then you can talk.
Or is it the upper right? Yeah, okay. Go ahead and talk to us, Penny. Let's see if it works.
Can you do it? She can't do it. Okay.
Can you hear us?
So scroll down to the bottom of your window. There should be unmute.
No, it's
video.
chat or pin video. Oh, she's different. She's not me. I'm sorry.
She's not here.
Actually, it's a microphone icon.
It looks like a microphone.
Yeah. And there's probably a red line through it.
Yeah, and it's lower left, right?
Lower left, extreme lower left.
So click that.
It should have your name on it, Penny Mead.
Did you click it, Penny?
Oh,
Not yet.
can you unclick her?
I can. All right, hold on. Penny. Unmute.
There you go.
I unmuted you, Penny.
But where's Penny? Can you say something?
Hi. Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I've got a lag. How do I mute it? Because I've got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old behind me here.
There's a picture of a microphone in the extreme lower left-hand corner of the window.
Where your name is,
Click
to
on
the
that.
left of your name is the microphone. Oh, you already did it. You already did
But
it.
But I'm not in Zoom.
Yes, can hear you now. Oh, how are you with us if you're not in Zoom? You must be in Zoom.
How do I mute it? I've got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old behind me here.
There's about a 10-second delay there from Facebook.
Where your name is, to the left of your name is the microphone. Oh, you already did it. You already did
But
it.
but I'm not in Zoom.
Yes. Oh, how are you with us if you're not in Zoom?
What
Okay,
you're hearing from Facebook is ancient history.
well, no, it's somebody
Well,
else
not
that
ancient, but-
the future of everything. But Penny, you are on Zoom, or we wouldn't be seeing you on Zoom. Just turn off Facebook. What is the problem? Okay,
Facebook is ancient history.
well, no, it's somebody else that ancient. The future of everything. But Penny, how come you are on Zoom, or we wouldn't be seeing you on Zoom? Just turn off Facebook. Okay. Well, anyway, why don't we proceed anyway here? We're doing great. Look at all the people, 3, 6, 7, 8, and how many, 8 people on Zoom. And it's 4:14 p.m. Kate, how many people are with us on Facebook?
Well, right now, it looks like 6.
6, okay.
6 people
We're doing great.
on Facebook.
Okay, so Kate will, for those of us who are new, which I think is about half of us, well,
Sven is on Facebook.
Sven is on Facebook.
Larry Rush. Let's see. Penny says she's still over there. She may or may not be.
Okay. Penny, you're a doppelganger. You're in 2 places at once.
I don't know what I've done. If you can hear me, I'm going to try to undo it.
Okay.
And
What is the password again, though, for Zoom?
No, you're on Zoom. You don't need the password. You've already used it.
I know, but somehow I'm, like, it's not open on my computer.
Like you can't see us?
It might be minimized.
Oh, we can see you, but you can't see us. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, hold on. I can see you. Well, now I totally can't. Because
Actually, there's 2 windows. One has boxes with everybody in it, and the other one shows only the current speaker.
Okay, hold on.
who else is on Facebook?
Penny, if you go to the top of the screen, over to the right, your cursor should show something that says speaker view or gallery view. Does it?
In Zoom or in Facebook?
In Zoom.
Okay.
You won't see it unless you rush your cursor over the top on the right. Then the word speaker view or gallery view should show up.
Okay. Okay. Hold on. I might go out, but I'm going to try to come back in. Okay.
Right now, who?
All right.
She'll check back in then.
She will. She will. It's hard when you're trying to get a new person on and they're not, used to this. It is a little different. It's different every time I log on. I tested it this morning. It worked just fine. And I had troubles getting on, but Facebook worked beautiful.
So it's working now.
Yeah. So how's everybody this week? What's new?
All's good. And then we have a few more people on Facebook. You said there was Sven and Larry Rush.
Delisi, Larry Rush. Yep. That's about it. I can't see everybody that's on. It tells me how many people are on, but not who they are.
And I think Lydia and Motion and Penny, I think this is, for you 3, that's your first time signing up with us. So it's so great you're here. And we'll tell you more as it goes on here. How's it looking there, Kate? Oh, and we should tell you, so you know, Kate and I are in the same room. But she's kind of right over there. And
and that's why you can't hear me good, because we have the 2 computers. So my computer is muted and my speaker is off, and we're working off Oshara's only. So you're hearing me from the back of her computer.
So her audio is coming in through my computer. And this is the Seth house. This is looking out the window of where Seth, Jane, and Rob lived for 15 years. And we'll show you some more of that a little later, like when Penny gets back, and we'll see who else. We'll get the conversation going here. Kate and I, though, we're just reading hey, you're back, girl.
Not yet. She's almost there.
She's almost there, Kate.
Looking out
the window of where Seth, Jane, and Rob lived for 15 years. And we'll show you some more of that a little later.
You could just mute Facebook.
Yeah, can you turn off Facebook? We're just reading hey, you're back, girl.
Yes, let me close Facebook.
Now, can you turn off Facebook
I
and put your mute?
Oh, we got DeLacy. Yay! All right.
Oh, delicious, yeah.
Now, you don't have to mute yourself, but if you can you hear us okay, Penny?
yes, I can. And I closed Facebook.
All
Yeah,
right.
and there's no background noise at all now.
Penny.
Thank you.
3, 6, 9 of us. Delisi is new. So it looks like 4 new people are with us on Zoom. You're all tech masters, and 5 of us have been here before, and there's people on Facebook. So should we get the thing going, Kate?
I think we got everybody on Zoom now. There are still people watching on Facebook. Let's see. We have 5 are still on Facebook. Using a laptop here, and okay, so it looks like Ned is connected to Facebook. Oshara, Nicoline must be on Facebook, and Ron. You know what? They're on Facebook. I don't think that they're watching this, though.
Nicolene Strom?
Yeah.
Ah. So they might just be watching, but maybe they're at work.
Yeah. True.
And they're sneaking.
True.
We're so glad you're all here. Welcome all.
Yeah. So we were, so DeLacy, you are, I'm going to try to unmute you so we can say hi. And I will ask you to, let's see. Oh, so are you calling in, DeLacy?
It doesn't say she's.
No, I don't
Okay.
see, she doesn't have any video. So
Okay.
she might either be on the phone.
She's listening or something. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but she's not muted, so if she talks, we'll hear her.
Okay, great. I'll do the little introductory thing I like to do. Should I get rolling?
Yes, absolutely.
This is the Seth House. Welcome to it. This is the actual place where Jane Roberts lived and Robert Butts lived for 15 years, from 1960 to 1975. And this is the place where they channeled most of the Seth material. It's exciting. This is real. We have Ron Card has just joined us.
Hi, Ron.
Ron, welcome. That's Ron Card, everybody. Dear close personal friend of ours. Oh,
So who's watching on Facebook is Michael Schultz and Miriam Cedillo.
okay. We cannot hear you yet, Ron. Can you hear us? Okay, you work out your techno stuff.
I'm getting a message on his box that says connecting to audio.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And it went out for a while, then it came back on.
And hi, Michael.
Michael is joining us.
Yeah, Michael Schultz.
Say something, Ron.
Am I here?
There we go. Now I can hear you.
Okay, we hear you. Ah! We are together.
Let's see here. Here's the Seth Museum collection.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and there's the chair.
Yep.
There's the pictures, the paintings,
Come
and
on.
the Ouija board.
Man, it's as good as his word. He promised us last week he would have it here, and there it is.
We did.
Crowded
Well,
house.
yeah.
And he's going to sit in it. Yeah.
So sit down, Ron, and channel some Seth for us.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
I have a question for Ron. When he posted a picture of the Hill House the other day, it was the front of the Hill House with a small porch. I'd never seen that view before. The
Okay.
view I saw looks like it was like, not a garage, but a porch on the other side of the house.
It's completely remodeled when Laurel and Rob lived there for several years. He passed away in '08, and she had to sell the house.
So they remodeled, so that's why it doesn't look the same?
Yeah, it was a one-story ranch house. Now it's a two-story mansion.
Ah, okay.
And complete. Last June we drove over to it and looked at it, and I didn't recognize it from 1999.
Well, I
it's the
visited
same.
in '99, and it didn't look the same, so I wondered if you had earlier pictures.
I do, somewhere in my millions of pictures. I do.
Okay.
I have to I do have the Ouija.
Okay,
I-
Ron, we missed some of what you said. You said you do have the Ouija board. What did you say after that, Ron? We couldn't hear you. It looks like you froze.
Internet connection is unstable. Huh?
Yeah, a little unstable. But we can see you fine.
Maybe you need to get further back. Okay. My computer on a wash tub.
Oh.
I set up a.
I'm getting a little message here, Ron, that says Ron Card's network bandwidth is low.
Yeah, I live out in the sticks.
So are you a long way from your Wi-Fi router?
No.
Oh, okay. That would be the other explanation.
Well, he lives out in the country where he doesn't get strong Wi-Fi.
Verizon Jack. It's MiFi over here, and it's only got 2 bars. So it's.
Oh, there you go.
Adequate. Yeah. The beauty of living out in the forest. And to show you what you can't see it all. I can. Here's Seth over here, what you're seeing. Here's Seth.
And for those of you who don't know, Ron bought the original paintings. And so he is showing us original paintings by Robert Butts that were painted here in this room, in this apartment. But he holds most.
That's Rupert and Joseph.
There it is.
Rupert and Joseph, 1967. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've often wondered if that Joseph is the same Joseph in Oversoul 7.
I don't know.
I've never heard it even discussed, but I've always wondered. First time I read Oversoul 7 and came upon Joseph, I thought, is that a relationship to the other Joseph?
This is Rob's self-portrait.
Wow. Never seen that before.
1988.
Something nice from Facebook? Got that hand on your heart thing.
That's his self-portrait. He has a bad expression because he got mad from sitting in front of a mirror for months, having to paint himself. It was the pain. So, okay.
Having done one self-portrait in charcoal myself, I didn't have that look, but I was much more intense and serious than I ordinarily would be.
This is Jane Roberts' favorite painting of the daffodils. That a neighbor brought her some fresh daffodils, and she liked them so much she painted the daffodils.
That is beautiful. So Jane Roberts painted that.
May of 1978, Jane Roberts painted this, yes.
Show that again. That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
Now, if people want to see that full screen, you can, if you hover your mouse over it, you'll see a blue box that says mute and then a box next to it that says ... If you click on that, you can pin the video so that you're just seeing Ron's picture.
On full screen.
Oh, okay. It says pin video.
You don't have to do it, Ron.
But if other people want to just see your screen in full size, they can.
Oh, okay. Okay, this is the daffodils. Okay, that's May of 1978. UW gave them to Jane on her birthday. These flowers.
Sweet.
Okay.
Ron,
Yeah.
Ron, do you have the painting that Jane drew? She painted a picture of the front of the hill house going down a hill with a tree. It's really beautiful. Has a lot of blue in it.
He's digging.
This is the Hill House.
Yeah, it was another picture. I haven't seen that picture before.
This
but
is,
it was beautiful.
this is in the living room before they remodeled it.
That's lovely. I didn't see that.
Yeah,
You know what year?
1975. Jane Roberts, View from the Hill House. They remodeled after this, so they redid the windows and all. Okay. And Jane rarely signed her paintings. Very rarely put her name on it. She didn't sign her painting.
Here's something to tell you. We've been seeing each other. Ugh, that is revolting.
This is also Jane Roberts. This is the house. I mean, of the Seth house. This is the tree outside the window.
This for you, because this is the best wish ever.
Are you there?
We're here. Whoever's got the TV on, put yourself on mute, please.
Me?
No, not you.
Mickey.
We heard a television.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's got to be Mickey. She's the only one that was new.
And
now she's
Jane-
talking.
okay.
We're good.
Jane and Rob rented the other apartment besides number 5. They rented a one across the way.
Yeah, they
you
were
know.
number 4. Yes.
Okay, this is the view out the window of number 4 of the tree, and there was a chair in the tree.
No, wait, was it number 4, Kate, or was it number 5 that view was from?
Is that the pear tree or
I
the
think-
cherry tree?
I-
There's an
I-
apple
I'm
tree.
guessing.
There's an apple tree off of 4.
That could be. Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
There's apples. There's apples.
All right, so that's the apple tree. So yes, that was painted out of, you can see that tree from the kitchen of 4.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
That's right. Okay, we're verifying stuff. We're finding out all these little things as we go. I thought that picture was of you out here, but
That's
no.
not the pear tree.
It's from number 4, the apple
So
tree.
you see that tree over
Okay.
there?
Yeah.
That's a pear tree. The
Yeah.
one with-
Are the trees still there?
No, it's a parking lot now.
Well,
geez.
Oh, the apple tree is there, yes.
Yes, the apple tree is there, but there was a tree that Jane looked from here where I'm sitting. Jane could look out and see a huge apple tree, but that's not there anymore. It was
Yeah.
made into a parking lot. But in
Well,
that painting,
That was
yes,
a pear tree.
that was a pear tree
Yes.
there. But yes, the apple tree she painted from number 4 is still there.
So
better one than none.
after Ron's done with his presentation, if you guys want, we can do a walk around with our phone. I did put Zoom on the phone and we could do that.
To prove that, yes, we are
Outside.
at the Seth house.
Yeah.
This is from a vivid dream that Rob had in November 13th of 1986.
Wow.
Where Jane visited him, and that's his perception, his interpretation of Jane. It's
Having an
very
out-of-body
interesting. And of
experience?
course,
or-
yes, he always puts information on the back of the painting. So that's Jane.
Wow, that's
one.
something else.
That's one of the most powerful pictures I've ever seen of his.
Yeah, I
This
agree.
is Rob when he was a Roman soldier.
Never seen that one before either.
1988. Rob as a Roman soldier. It's a little.
Why have we never seen these before? I mean, a few were in the
Huh?
books, but a few of these were in the books, but Jiminy Christmas, most of them weren't.
Here is Jane sitting. Here is Jane sitting in the chair right here.
That's a beauty. Yeah, that's one of the best pictures of her is that one reading.
Can you see it? Okay.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Bring it closer.
Bring it closer.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite paintings of Jane, yeah. She's reading or, yeah. Point the bottom
Take
up.
it the other way.
Yeah, point the bottom up. There you see
There
it.
you go.
There we go.
Beautiful.
1965. That's a fairly young Jane.
What's the
1965.
date of the painting, Ron?
He finished it January 21st, 1967.
You know, when I look at
Took-
that, what I'm
took a
seeing
year
there,
or two.
this is the Jane that Rob sees,
Yes.
not the one the camera sees.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she's quite beautiful.
Oh, yes. Okay.
You know what that reminds me of? Women who are really quite attractive when they're young, and then they get very much older. And I've known a few that I knew when they were young, and when I see them older, they got the wrinkles and the whole thing, but I can still see the young girl in them. Whereas women I didn't know when they were young, all I can see is the old woman.
Okay, this is Jane. This is the largest. Oh, this is the largest painting. This is huge. This thing is huge. It's huge. This is. Hi, Lydia. This is huge. I'll have to stand back here. There we go. Can you see me?
Oh, yeah.
I can see her. I can see Jane. Jane could whip you in a fist fight. She's so big.
1965.
Whoa.
This is a big one.
That's got to be one of the oldest ones in the collection, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
And I think most of these, yeah, they were painted here in Rob's art studio, right here.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Did he have a decent studio in the Hill House?
I've never been inside the Hill House.
Neither have I. I remember him talking a lot about studio in this house, but I don't remember ever talking about a studio in the Hill House.
God, we have to see every fucking picture.
This is Rob's another visit
So
where
apparently,
Jane visited Rob.
what this looks like is what Facebook sees.
Okay.
Because DJ just asked me to pin Ron so that he could see the pictures on Facebook.
Okay.
1987. This is Jane visiting Rob, and she's in the doorway, and she's telling him that she's okay. She's with him, but she's leaving, and she disappears in the doorway and goes on to another reality. And
That doorway's seen a lot of action, hasn't it?
That's a powerful image.
Oh,
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yes. Ah. Okay. This is Rob's painting called "You're Drinking on the Job." What is this? Get out of here. It wants to sell me. It wants to sell me Dell Windows upgrade.
No, we don't need
This
that.
is
Later.
Can you put that closer to the
this is
camera, Ron?
Rob's painting called, huh?
Can you
Oh,
put
The
that closer to the
Universal
camera?
Light.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1980.
Oh,
June
it's the window. Okay, I didn't even know what it was at first.
That's the universal light, energy light coming through the window.
Right.
Yeah.
Looks like a little breeze coming with it.
1980. Yeah. Oh, it's small.
Ron, he
Yeah.
shows another picture through a doorway where that same light is coming in the top of the transom.
Yes, I don't have that one. I don't have that one. I think he made he made 3 paintings altogether, and I got this one. So, and of course you all know Seth. You all know. I think I showed this last time.
Yes.
This is it.
The iconic Seth.
June of 1968, because Rob put the date on the back.
BJ,
Right here.
It looks like a Bob Ross studio.
Yeah. Of course, he put a lot of information on the back of this. But this is the Mona Lisa right
Yeah.
here. Okay. And this is Rob's transcript. Oh, let's see here. There we go. This is Rob's transcript volume number 18. That it's a copy. It's contains about 8 or 9 unpublished Seth sessions, 3 of Christ, 1 of Atlantis, 1 of Rob's family, and some other subjects that came between 2 Seth books. They're all back here. And she gave me this when I got the Seth portrait. So that's what it looks like.
Ron, Miriam would like you to show where the electrical symbols are on the Seth painting.
Sure. Okay. And I did want you to see the coffee table. This is see the coffee table?
Yeah.
These are the ashtrays. This is where Rob rested his feet while he took dictation on the long coffee table. That's mentioned throughout the material. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All righty. Let's see. Here I am. Okay, I'm back.
There he is. That's our man.
Here it is right here. That's an E. There's an E right here. E. It's hard. It's going to be hard to see. On the original, it pops out. There's one right here. There's the E right here. And the other one is the E right here above his hand. Here's the E right here. There's 3 of them. They're symbols that old masters used to put in their paintings back hundreds of years ago, and Rob decided to put them in. I didn't know about it till when I bought the Seth painting from Laurel. You can hear me good?
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. When I bought the Seth painting from Laurel and got it, she said, guess what? She said, look at these symbols that Rob had put in there. And I never knew it. So it's quite interesting.
I'm just trying to imagine what it must have been like for her when she gave it all up, you know, or even sent things to Yale, even, you know, in the 80s. That would be a hell of a thing to do, you know.
Yale does not have anything original.
Oh, really?
No, nothing.
Really?
Yale,
I never knew that.
In the 90s, Laurel helped Rob make tens of thousands of copies of everything.
Oh,
Here
and 2, everything.
Yeah.
Here's the chair. Let me.
And there's no one answer. I mean, Yale got part of it, Ron got part of it. Who knows where the rest went?
You mean the manuscripts?
Everything. I mean, you got the furniture, part of the furniture.
Laurel has everything original. She's probably got a couple hundred of these, of all the sessions.
What's going to happen to those when she's gone?
Good question. I don't know.
I'm wondering if Yale will get the originals when there's nobody else in the family to
Maybe you
caretake
can
them.
inquire on that, Ashara and Kate.
Mary should know.
Yale did not want anything physical. All Yale wanted was copies of the sessions. They didn't want anything physical. They had what is.
Well, there's a matter of storage. Yeah, there's a matter of storage and space. Yeah.
They would just package this up and put them in the 3rd basement closet.
Yeah.
That's what
and
museums
there it would
do.
sit.
Yeah, that's what museums do. You donate good stuff and it ends up in the basement. At least I can share this with you all.
Thank you very much.
Oh, this is the next best thing to be in there.
Yeah. And we're in good loving hands with Ron, and we're getting to see these precious things right now.
So people are asking.
Thank you, Ron, so much.
Yeah. Clearly, she wasn't handing them out like party favors. She was being very picky.
Ron, you're pretty as a picture there. It's a perfect picture of you just
Yeah.
amidst them all. I want a picture of that. Oh, I can have one. Yeah.
Guten Tag.
Hallo.
Hello.
Oh, I think we got a couple of new people we should welcome. Ron, is there anything else you want to show us this time around?
For the time being, this is the cream of the crop.
Yeah. So we can look at this. That is Seth history, all looking at you, kid, all around you. So thank you for that. We'll look forward to seeing some more close-ups a little later. Why don't we welcome some of our new enchanted guests we have? I think Mickey Lowe. Didn't you come in while Ron was talking? Welcome, Mickey. And we'll welcome BJ, Bernd Jurgen. Hiya.
Hi.
And I think Kara McLeod who came in during this.
Helene Gilbert.
Helene Gilbert. And welcome. We already had Delise and Lydia with us. So 4.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, you unmuted Mickey. Thank you. Welcome, Mickey. Where are you?
Hi. I tell you why I'm mute. My husband is watching Star Trek.
Oh.
Well, at least she's got good taste.
So I will mute back, and then in a while, when he's finished, I will come back on without TV.
Okay. But Jane Roberts loves Star Trek, so it's okay.
Oh, thank you. He says, do it now, do it now.
May the force be with you.
And where are you from, Mickey?
I was born in DC, but I'm from Florida.
Florida, and where are you now? You're in Florida?
Oh, I'm in West Yorkshire in England now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, we got 3 Europeans here.
Go on.
So we got 3 Europeans now.
Well, and on Facebook, we've got a girl from Italy. So hard time translating.
There seems to be a delay of some kind.
A delay. Are you watching on Facebook or are you watching on Zoom?
I'm on Zoom.
Okay.
And Kara's from Australia.
There's like a 15-second delay on Facebook.
Ah.
Kara's Australia? Oh, it's like
time.
4 in the morning for her then. She's dedicated from Australia to wake up early to watch this. Welcome from Aussie land. So England, yeah, I love England. One of my favorite places.
Were you speaking of Helene? Is she from Australia?
Belgium, Germany, Italy, Australia.
Mickey is in England.
Yes.
Who's in Australia?
Kara McLeod.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and Kara said, everyone can't show myself through, but she's sending smileys to us, so she can watch and listen, but can't show herself.
I must say, I'm very grateful to get to see all those exhibits from Ron. It's amazing experience of a lifetime for me. It really is.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Well, you haven't had the grand tour of the house yet. It's a set, you know.
I saw a bit of a tour last time I was with you.
Oh, you did?
I wasn't on Zoom then, if you recall.
Oh, yeah, you saw it on Facebook. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was just on the comment side and kept track.
Okay,
you know.
good comments too.
But it really has my heart going to actually sit and see those paintings.
Yeah.
It just is amazing. It gives me chills.
For me, so many of them are new. I've never seen them before. That's what's really cool.
It's wonderful.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for appreciating it. I mean, that's when you know who the true Sethies are, when we get tingles at shit like this. I love it.
Yeah.
Helene.
Well, it changed my life. At the point in my life when I ran into it, I was very, very young. And so to have that kind of reality adjustment in your early 20s.
Yeah.
All of the rest of my life has been guided by what I learned. You know, it's been profound.
I
Oh,
agree.
no
with you.
kidding.
Yeah, I found Seth when I was 21. It changed everything for the better, and it's been my guiding light ever since. And now I'm sitting where Jane sat, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to meet people who love Seth is just the greatest. I mean, the people who get this and say like, yes, the paintings give me tingles. Yes, the books are just, life-changing. May everybody,
It helps too with viewing what the world is going through right now. It helps a lot.
I couldn't make it through this craziness without it.
Yeah.
Because I know where I was right before Seth came along. I got into Seth at the tail end of Watergate.
Oh.
I was in such a paranoid political space, you wouldn't believe it. And I opened up Seth Speaks, and that all just completely went away. I mean, I've been living there for 2 years or more, and it just all went away.
Yeah.
And it was replaced by Seth.
Yeah.
Talk about a wholesale swap.
I have an aside or a question or a comment for all of you. And that is, as I sit here looking at you and sharing space, I can't help but think about the concept of the counterparts and how we're all here together. And what are the implications of us being all over the world at this moment sharing Sethiness?
In real time.
In real time.
Except for Facebook.
It's so interesting about the different lives that come together and touch in real, actual vibratory time. It's just amazing.
It's even more dramatic when I consider the reality I lived in when I first opened Seth Speaks in 1974. Oh, I mean, it was a different reality, let me tell you, and not just the Sethian part.
And we all get to share, and I love what you're saying, Mickey. We all get to share this, and yeah, but Kate and I have talked about that too. The fact that people want to come together to talk about this. Oh yeah, Kara says to everyone in simultaneous time. So Jane, what else?
And Rob and Seth are still here.
Yes.
Seth speaks and never stop talking in this room.
Right.
I want to do one thing I like to do to prove that we are in the place. I'm sitting where Jane sat, and here's a picture. That's the Jane, famous picture of her at this window where I'm sitting. Look at the window. Look out the window there at that house. It's that house.
Wow.
Same house, probably hasn't been painted. And and the two bottles, those aren't the original bottles, but they're
exactly.
But this is the place where Jane sat for this photo. And this is why I like to have the camera right here so that, yeah, this is Jane's. Jane is still sitting. I am sitting on Jane's lap. In the simultaneous universe. And she likes it, okay?
Oh, I was going to say, I hope she doesn't mind.
Loving it. And so am I. So anyway.
The nature of the simultaneous connection, as Kara mentioned, it's just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
You know, that we're snaking out through the universe, through time, through everything, and the things are all touching each other. So the magnificence of what Seth was saying about us understanding the reality, it's all actually showing it to us.
And
you know, the interesting thing about that is that we all take it so much for granted. It's not until somebody says it right out loud, like you just did, we say, yeah, I guess that's true, you know.
Well,
until then, it's like, yeah, here we are on Zoom again.
Well, no, I don't think anybody's taking it for granted at all. And I think 50 years ago, if Jane and Rob knew, you know, they started out with a manual typewriter, click, 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 ding, ding, you know. And then if they knew that 50 years later, we would be doing this, sitting where they're sitting, and to honor what they did here. I mean, they worked so hard here in basically isolation too. They were very homebodies, working on Seth, working on paintings. They were private people. And every day they must have wondered, is anybody going to care about how hard we're working to get this crazy spooks information out there? The answer is yes. Here we are.
Well, plus the fact that they could have had no idea at that time how many people's lives would be so radically affected and in what way?
Yes.
How
And
could they
connected.
possibly have envisioned that without Seth brainwashing them, and which he didn't do?
But you know what Seth did say in books, and Seth said millions of people are going to be touched by the information I'm giving you. And Rob wrote on there, we were kind of taken aback that Seth said such a thing. I mean, when Seth said that to him, they were the first ones to be blown away at the ramification. Millions of people are going to be enriched by what we're doing, and they seemed to even deny it then. It was too big for them to handle. And it's right there in the books.
Do you have any recollection of when that happened?
It was in one of the, is it the early sessions? Because there's something called FindingSeth.com,
right.
search engine. But I remember reading that. It was just kind of a very poignant moment for that. They were just taken aback that, really? Millions?
Yes.
Millions?
It's amazing how long it took and that it all came together, and it's still going forth. It's and gathering and gathering and gathering. Oh, it's
I
wonderful.
think it was in the millions while Jen was still alive.
Yes.
Not big millions.
God knows what it is now.
And just more and more and more people are
more.
turning onto it. And in Asia, it's an explosion of Seth awareness too. We have a new person. Sean, you're back.
Hello, hi. Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
there she is. Hi, Sean.
Hey, hi, Ned. How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm
My
great.
God, you're
I'm
so
great.
beautiful.
Thank you. I'm so late today. I had brunch with my mom, so it was worth it.
That's nice.
Oh, you bring a note from your mom?
I should introduce myself. I'm new to this group. My name is Helene, and I'm from Buffalo, New York.
Well,
Hi, Helene. Hi. My name is Sean.
Yeah.
Yes,
From
so
Linwood, California.
Yeah,
Some of my
Sean,
neighbor.
Yeah.
California. So
So
Helene,
you're coming to us from California.
Yes, I am.
Ah,
that's neat.
How you doing, Mickey?
I'm fine. I'm excited. This is lovely.
Nice to meet you.
And you, and all of you.
Mhm.
Helene, everybody.
Thank you.
I want to say what a treat it is. This is the second week in a row that we've had a lot of new people. And to me, it's like a treasure trove. They've all been just really wonderful additions. Today's no exception.
Aline, how did you
Yeah.
get involved with Seth?
My friend Dennis, Charlie Dennis. I've known about Seth for a long time, and I have read Seth books before, but he was talking about it with me, and it kind of rekindled my interest. So I've been listening to YouTube readings
Tom Hart.
lately.
How
Yes.
long ago did that start?
Oh, for me, just a week or so. So I'm.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm new at rekindling it, but
Yeah.
I'm not new to it in general.
Right.
This has made me pull my books back out too.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Yep.
Just
It's
made
wonderful.
you do that, huh?
It's amazing how much you forget that you've read. And as I each day read, Ron, the things that you post, I started to then be pulled back into, oh yes, remember that? Oh yeah, remember that? You forgot you had read that and you forgot that. So it's a chance for me to replug myself into those things I should have remembered.
You know what that reminds me of, though, Mickey? It's like Alzheimer's in reverse. So instead of pieces falling out of your memory, pieces are coming back in. It's like, oh yeah,
back.
Where'd
Yes.
that go? God,
How cool is
I
that?
knew that.
These are the Seth residuals.
There you go.
I think, Kate, that someone had a question for us from Facebook.
Yep, question from Facebook. She says she can't unmute right now. Actually, not from Facebook. She's on Zoom, but she can't unmute. She is reading the early sessions, book 1, and Seth said some isolation is necessary and good, particularly for you. Then expand. She said expand in what way?
It's expanding on consciousness. Yeah,
Yeah.
isolation.
Oh.
Oh, there's somebody showing some isolation necessary and good, particularly for you. Then, what the heck?
That was the question.
That's on her Kindle. Okay. All right, gang. Seth Geniuses, go for it. Comment.
The Ouija board. The early sessions, they were using the Ouija board, and
Yes.
Seth was coming through at Frank Watts, and that's what he said. And when Rob wrote it, he wrote it as he kept in the misspellings. So that's
right.
why it's like that.
That's right. Yes.
Oh.
So he said, "Oh, go ahead."
Oh, no, just what you were saying. On a Ouija board, when they're spelling it out, as we know, that's kind of tricky to spell everything out. And Ron, let's all look at Ron. He is holding that very Ouija board that book was made. So let's zoom in on Ron here. That is the Ouija board that you just quoted.
Yep.
So on that board is where Seth introduced himself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Session,
Cool.
Yes.
Huh. That's
session
fun.
number 4, December 8th, 1963.
Wow.
So almost 60 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
I
thought
was
that
in the
was
11th grade.
That's the back of it. That's the back of
But I
it.
thought that was
My.
Yeah.
That is how, and Seth said, consciousness is like a flower with many petals. That was
Yes.
one of the first beautiful sentences he made on that board.
That's beautiful.
And December 8th is when he said, you can call me what you want. I call myself Seth. It is, yeah, there's something.
All names are God's.
All, yeah, the first thing he says, they said, what is your name? He says, all names are God's names.
Oh.
You can call me Seth.
He said he liked Seth.
Yeah, he likes it. It reflects the me of me.
Yeah.
But on that board and the first 27 sessions, I think we're all on
I
board.
can pull it out I'll do that.
I'm glad you're bringing this up, Penny. We get so excited about things like this. It's like, oh,
I know.
the Seth question, the board. We have the board right here. This is the thing. We're all coming together from all over the world to talk about this. We have the board there. We have the room here. The board action happened right around where Kate is sitting. That's where they started the Ouija board stuff. It's right around where Kate is.
So Ron's got the what and you got the where.
We've all got the spirit inside us, no matter where we are.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay,
The
ay.
Seth House also has a manuscript copy. It was given to the Seth House on Jane's birthday last year, which is coming up next week. Right?
Oh.
Yeah. So in this, these are the first sessions. So in this session, I'll put it up real close. I don't know if you can read the words, but I'll read it to you. So it says, what would you prefer to be called? To God, all names are his name. But we still need some kind of name or title we can use in talking to you. You may call me whatever you choose. I call myself Seth. It fits the me of me. The personality must clearly approximate the whole self where I am trying to be. Joseph is your whole self, more or less, the image of the sum of your various personalities in the past and in the future.
That's wonderful.
Anybody here
That was
ever had the experience of deciding what their counterpart name would be? Counterpart to Seth's calling himself Seth and calling Joseph, Rob Joseph. I've never contemplated that before, really, not that way anyhow. But what would my whole self name be?
Oh, that's
that
very
would
interesting.
include me and all my other personality fragments wherever they are. I
I
have
would
no
have
idea.
to meditate on that. You know,
Hell
allow
of a
myself
question,
to be
isn't it?
in a different state so as
Yeah.
to accurately receive it.
Yeah. Wow. I have no idea.
That's a project for us all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's your homework assignment. Come back next week and tell us what you come up with.
So it is exciting, those first early sessions that happened here, that breakthrough time when Seth first started talking on that board. And it's in the first volume of the early sessions, volume 1, as Penny was referring to. So you got us going on this one, Penny, those first Ouija board sessions and the breakthrough and the poetry that started right from the beginning. It was intelligent. It was friendly. It was trying to help. And 20 years later, they spoke with Seth for 20 years. The most of it, as I said, was dictated here, but the last few years were at the Hill House. But other questions along those lines? This is fun to kind of bounce around internationally and globally about all this stuff. So.
What inspired them to start using the Ouija board?
Oh, where do we go first?
Oh, that was because she had published some fiction of her own. And she and her publisher were looking for her next book. And somebody made the suggestion, why don't you write about ESP? And she said, what do I know from ESP?
Oh.
And she said, well, the landlord's got a Ouija board, you know, that we can
Ned,
borrow.
I'm going to have to stop you. Ned, no, sorry, you got it wrong. I'm going to tell.
But she taught ESP at the university, didn't she?
Well, yes, she did speak. She had spoken at some of the colleges, but
she had classes.
Yeah, she was a teacher and stuff like that.
Prior to 63?
What happened was in September of 1963, Jane Roberts was sitting right here writing poetry at her desk, and she had this huge, expansive experience. She flew out of her body. She had an out-of-body experience. She was sitting here writing poetry, and boom, the next thing she knows, everything changed. So she had a huge, expansive experience in September of 1963. She flew out of body. She actually went into the tree that was outside her window. And while she was sitting right here, her hand continued to write things she was not aware that she was writing.
That's right.
When she came
the automatic handwriting came first. Yes.
So when she came to, a while later, after this huge, massive psychic expansive experience, she looked down and found like 20 or 40 pages in her handwriting. And it was actually entitled The Universe as
Idea Construction.
Idea Construction.
Yes.
So she looks at this and she doesn't know where it came from. She just knows she had the hugest experience of her life. She then calls out to Robbie. Robbie comes in and he believes her and he can see what's going on. And he was very supportive. And as the days went on, they had the conversations like, if this is real, we have to explore this. We have to find out what happened. And it was Rob who did make the suggestion to Jane, why don't you do research and write a book about it? And that's where the book, How to Develop Your ESP Power, came into existence. And later that book was given a new title called The Coming of Seth. It's the same book, but they changed the title after Seth got famous.
That was quite a few years after it was first published.
Yeah, and so Jane did all this research about psychic stuff. And remember, it started September is when she's like, okay, we're going to research psychic stuff. So they researched all kinds of things. They bought all kinds of books about the topic. And then in December of 63, they had a wonderful landlord. And we have had long conversations with the son of the landlord who lived here. Jim Spaziani was the landlord. John Spaziani is the son. And it's in the books too. The landlord loaned him a Ouija board. So the landlord lived in the carriage house in the back, and he owned the buildings, and they were good friends with the landlord. So, you know, so landlord loaned them the Ouija board, and that's when it began. And December 2nd, I think, is when they got hold of. When did they get hold of the Ouija board? What was the first day of it? He loaned him the Ouija board, and then he said, you can keep it. They asked later, can we keep the board? And the landlord said, yes, it's a gift. So that was very nice. And so that was it. It was because Jane said before this happened, the September 63 psychic breakthrough, she didn't want anything really to do with spirituality. She had a bad time as a child with Catholicism. And she was preferring to be like, I didn't want to think about it, agnostic. And Rob was the same way. Don't want to think about it, agnostic, fine.
Oh, she was a serious skeptic.
It blew their mind quite over. What did you say?
She was a serious skeptic for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
She just wasn't ready to fall for it altogether. I think he won her over at some point, but it was years.
But the one thing that Jane said, and what she said, she says, you know, of course they weren't sure about this new information, but they knew it was intelligent, it made sense, and as time went on, it made better sense than anything they'd ever heard before. So they kept going with the experiment with board and everything else. It's like, now this is really some intelligent stuff here. If it was, yeah. So what do you guys think of Jane's initiation, Jane's journey, Jane's opening this way? You guys got any comments about that?
Where can one read the manuscript which is written in trance on your typewriter?
What's that, BJ?
Where can I read it, on the net or on a printed book? The manuscript of the idea as the physical universe as an idea construction.
You know what's really weird? It's a good question. It's like, where did that manuscript go? There is a Xerox copy of it at Yale. I have never seen it printed in full anywhere. If anybody knows, let me know.
There's greater elaboration on the universe's idea construction in the book. It's this one right here.
Does she have the whole thing? Seth's Rejection of Consciousness. Does she have the whole thing in there?
No, but she does elaborate on the points that she does make, and I think one of the earlier books where she first talks about her initiation through that trance state.
Yeah,
so
she's her psychic initiation. Yeah.
So she mentions some portions, like excerpts from the full body of the manuscript, but it's more fully elaborated in this book here. Actually, let me see if I can find some portion of it.
And you look for that. I'll say one more thing. When I went, I did make a pilgrimage to Yale, and Mary Dillman helped show me around, and she says, I want you to see this. And she pulled out a Xerox of that original manuscript. And I was crying. I was crying all over the place looking. I could barely read it. And so I was like going through it. It's like, that was a Xerox.
Was it handwritten? Was it handwritten?
Handwritten. And
Wow.
I don't know where the original is, probably with Laurel, but it was handwritten, and I was holding a Xerox, and it was, titled at the top, Universe's Idea Construction. And it goes, and she had said too that this basically was like the first outline of what everything would be elaborated on. Yeah.
Well, you know, the thing that I've come to in the last few years is that there's one fundamental question that everyone answers early in life, and very few people are even aware that they did. And there's two ways to look at reality. Either the physical universe is primary and consciousness is an emerging property, or consciousness is primary and creates physical reality. You can't have it both ways. And most of the world looks at door number one. We look at door number two.
Yes.
And so universe's idea construction, to me, is a fancy and more complete way of saying consciousness is primary and physical world isn't.
Well, yes, Seth says, consciousness creates form. There is no other way. I mean,
blank. Yeah.
Not the other way around.
Kate is saying, go ahead, Kate.
DJ is asking, can one copy the Yale Seth material? Can you order copies?
I think you're allowed. I don't want to.
Well, that's the first thing that crossed my mind.
I was looking at the Jane Roberts papers the other day, and I didn't see any specific citation where those papers are held. Yeah. They would have to be, if they're in the collection, they're not specified. They're not specified at all. So they might be in her papers. Are you looking
at the inventory of the Yale properties? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Maybe
how can one find that?
Yeah, it's online.
Yeah, really.
Oh.
Maybe
it's called the Sterling Collection. The Sterling Collection.
Sterling.
Maybe if we called them, they might be able to answer that.
Maybe, yeah.
Or Mary might be able to get a copy of it and put it online.
Oh,
there is a copy. You can download the PDF.
Really?
Just go to Yale. You can download an inventory of the collection.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
speaking, that sounds great, but I'm speaking specifically of the Universe's Idea Construction manuscript.
That's where we don't know where that is. We don't know if that's in the
I'll
collection
bet
or
you
not.
Mary could find it if she wanted to.
She can find
first
it.
we have to
Pretty
look
good
through
chance you
what's
could walk right to
listed.
it, actually.
Yeah.
We need to
something
see
to
that list and look
track
at
of.
what's there and, you know, what it
Yeah.
talks
Oh,
about.
yeah.
Go for it. Do
The
it.
Sterling collection, did you say?
Yes, the Sterling
Okay.
collection, the Jane
said-
Roberts papers.
You
And
said
maybe give
PDF.
it a
How
phone
big a
call.
PDF is that, Sean?
It's about 80 pages.
That
Wow.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
We ain't
Now,
talking no
Mary
pamphlet here.
Dillman has been collecting and typing that material for 20 years. I met her the year she started, and she never dreamed that 20 years later she'd still be doing it. She started it as a passion to get some Seth works in print, in, you know, in a way people could share them. And then the Yale project, it had some things Rob had donated. Well, then she began to bring the collection together. Her work has been fantastic. One of the things not related to that book, but I did want to say is that it is difficult to get hold of Jane's original stories. She wrote short stories. She wrote 7 short stories for the Gold Banner magazine of fantasy and science fiction.
Right.
Oh.
And I have one of them. I have the original 1956 edition of her short story, The Red Wagon, of the actual copy. And I had to move to where I am now from another place last summer. And the only thing I protected in the move was that book.
Good girl.
That's
good
fun.
girl.
Because everything else can be replaced, but not
When I
that.
left America, when I left America and came over here, I was very limited as to what I could bring on the plane, but the only thing I protected was the whole lot of all the Seth.
Good girl. Good
That's
girl.
right.
So it's not that you couldn't replace them in England, but
Well, I wasn't sure. I didn't know anything.
you weren't taking any chances.
Well, you know what?
I used what I was taught about creating reality to get my husband. So that's how I got over here, was I created Jack.
How fun.
Well, if you got your husband, then it must be true.
It is. True.
It must be the right thing.
Focus.
Especially when she says her husband, not her ex-husband.
Exactly.
Well, you know something? I do have a question, though, about the Jane Roberts papers. Ron, do you have, I know that you and Laurel are good friends. Would you happen to know what she has remaining from Jane's body of work?
Okay, man.
It's a little weird. Okay, I've pestered Laurel for his original autobiography that she never finished, called From This Rich Bed, and she says it was stolen out of her bedroom by thieves.
Oh, because I've heard of it.
It disappeared, but she says things appear and disappear out of her house when she's not there. And it's a little, I really don't want to go into it, but it's a little weird. So
Okay.
I'm lucky I have what I have starting
We're lucky you have what you have, Ron.
Yeah, you're the luckiest
Bloody
guy.
world
If she had that man, I was ready to pay her big bucks for the autobiography, but she says, I don't have it. I looked everywhere, and these little gremlins came in through the bedroom floor and stole it.
Ron, I've had the same problem because I was communicating with her for a few years until about 2016, and I would ask about documents, and she would say that they were. She said exactly the same thing. This is now 4 years ago, that they would appear and disappear, but she would never explain why. So I felt a little odd about that. I mean, that the information was odd. So my question to you is, because you've been so close, not just to the works and own certain things, but you've been part of this process for so long, Is there anyone who could approach her who would be able to get information more directly?
No, no. I'm sorry. She's very standoffish.
Well, I wouldn't mind that.
Well,
I'd go there and talk, you know.
I think I can understand that.
What?
I think I can understand her being that way. This is a big, big thing. It's historic, it's worldwide, it's ongoing, and the implications of the connection have to be huge.
And, you know, not
Especially
everyone
on a personal level.
Well, I'm just
is
thinking
not like us. They're crackpots.
securing the originals would seem to be important to do, if possible. Bless Mary's work in Yale University, we have copies of everything.
Yeah.
But to have the originals would be a treasure. Therefore, I think if she didn't want money for them, was it possible to persuade her to look upon it as a legacy to share? And because
How old is she?
her own time is moving on.
How old
she
is she?
wants money.
I think 72, 73, something like that.
Not that old. She's in her mid-60s.
No, that's not old. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you don't know what can happen to people and memory and everything.
Well, I see things at this stage of life, and my approach to what is valued and what is not, and why I value it, has changed so very drastically.
Okay.
You know, and so that may be functioning in how she's seeing things and whatnot. I have really changed what I hold dear and what I really think should go on and not, you know. So
I gotta
from the
ask
times
you,
that I've met
when that
Laura,
happens-
she's been wonderful to talk to. But I think that desire for privacy with the information is understandable the way you're saying it, except that now, and I'm not saying we can do anything about it or even should do anything about it, but I believe now, if those originals exist, which is one of the questions, it's not just can we get them, do they exist still? If they do, possibly there's some persuasion that could say, well, let's put these in a safe place. Let's have originals, because in the world at large, everything's being digitized and lost. And in fact, libraries are throwing away whole rooms filled with paper goods and putting everything, you know, on digital media. We could have a century from now, no record of this period of time in history on
nothing
paper.
original.
Yeah, and so I was just thinking possibly someone who knew her better could make that argument. That's why I'm asking Ron.
Hanging Gardens.
One thing, guess what? Kate did a little bit of research and she found, and she's posting it, the link to a copy of The Universe as Idea Construction. So it starts out as a little bit of an article, Jane explaining it, and then it types through. It's not the handwriting, it's typed up neatly so you can read it.
You said she's posting that where?
It's in the chat window and it's in Facebook. And we'll put it.
And I looked at it and it was like, yeah, that looks like it. So we'll also post it on Facebook. We'll make its own thing on our Facebook page. I'm so glad we're talking about this because it's like, it is exciting. And
well, correct me if I'm wrong, O'Shara, you said that actually predates even the Ouija board.
Yeah, that was 4 months before she did Ouija board work. This instigated everything. It was her psychic initiation breakthrough that changed her worldview. And then 4 months later is when she met Seth on the Ouija board. Yes.
And of course, Seth didn't have anything officially to do with that, but you got to.
Yes, he said he did. Yes, he said he did.
Yeah, he's got to have his fingers in it.
I would think so.
He said he had given Jane that as preparation for what would happen when he.
I remember reading that.
And appear.
Yeah.
I forget which one of the books they talked about that in the early ones, though.
We have a couple of articles that she wrote in college. and they are so Seth-like, it is incredible.
Oh.
This entity has been with her entire life. He just didn't come through as separate, and it just seemed like inspiration, which it is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So those things are downstairs in apartment 1A. I don't have them up here with me now, but they're just absolutely beautiful, her poetry. And it was John Spaziani, the son of the man that owned this building. He went to her college and he asked them for whatever she may have written. And they're like, why? Is she a writer now?
Is she a writer now? Yeah.
No idea about it.
And he told them everything, and they became really excited. Like, we have to find out more about this. And these are the people at the college and at the where she went to school. And so he gave them lots of leads so they could research and saying, you guys need to honor. This is one of your alumni who sold over like 8 million books.
But of course, everybody knows that she was expelled, right?
So she's what?
There's a hidden story there. You didn't get the right story. You didn't get the true story there.
Well, yeah, Jane got to go to Saratoga. It was what was the college name?
Skidmore. Skidmore.
Point to Sean. Skidmore College. She got there on a poetry scholarship as a writer, and just some stupid shit happened to her.
No.
She went to a party. She didn't do anything bad, and they kicked her out of school.
The college wanted to get rid of one of the professors. They didn't like a professor. They cornered Jane to get Jane to turn evidence against the professor so they could fire the professor.
And she wouldn't.
No. Well, the professor had an off-campus party. And some of the girls, Jane, went to the party, and of course they were not allowed to leave campus. And
so she was AWOL, basically.
Yeah,
but she did nothing wrong, and they expelled her. Well, what did she do? She went with her boyfriend on a cross-country motorcycle trip. She went to California on the back of a motorcycle with her boyfriend.
Right.
Born to be one.
People who were born significantly later than me don't recall what it was like in colleges in those days.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, it was a whole different reality.
It was strict.
I mean, when I went to Whitman College, the girls all lived in the girls' dorm. Even the sororities had areas within the dorm instead of fraternity houses or sorority houses. Anyway, 10 o'clock closing every night of the week except Saturday, which was like midnight.
Right.
And that's it. And they took names. You signed in, you signed out.
You could get written up. Yes.
And you written up. I think maybe they gave you one write-up, and then you're out.
And then you're out. Yeah.
I don't care if you got a 4-point GPA and you're done.
Yeah.
And that was a fairly liberal school compared to some. Interesting story. Reed College in Portland was one of the least restrictive colleges I knew of. And they were opening up the dormitories for intergender commerce. In other words, girls would go into boys' rooms and stuff. As long as the door was open. As long as there was a door open.
Yeah.
And then they said, okay, the door can be closed, but not after 11. And the argument the students put up was, so you're telling me that there's something we can do after 11 that we couldn't do before 11? Is that what this? But that's the kind of ridiculous stuff that was,
Jane fell victim to that closed-minded college days, but but then away she went, and she had a real education on the back of a motorcycle going cross-country to California and the Northwest, and then she came back to Elmira area.
So it's Zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance, Seth in the art of motorcycle maintenance.
Yeah, and then let me see. She was married once before Rob. What was the guy's name? Oh, pop quiz again. Her first husband's name.
Zeb? No, not Zeb.
It was an interesting name, like, oh, I've got a name. What's his damn name?
Sue Watkins got the story.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but so
Jane
she was
tells Sue
married.
Watkins.
Let's not go too far. That's kind of private, Ron. But she was married to this one guy first, and then she met Rob at a party and fell for him and divorced the first husband to marry Rob. I think that's kind of it, isn't it, Ron?
Interesting, according to Sue, that Jane was still a virgin after she divorced him.
Whoa.
That's in the book.
I've never heard that about her, but I have heard about that.
Oh,
of other women. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there was
Well,
one
the
famous
thing-
story that happened a few years ago. Where this guy was married to a man for like 25 years before he found out he was a man.
Oh.
Well,
Oh.
her first husband was a man and Jane was a woman. But for whatever reason, she, I have heard, we know someone who knows someone. Her first husband has since passed away some years ago, but we know someone who knows someone who knows their family, and it'd be nice to find out, because we had heard that the first husband wrote something about his marriage, a journal or an absolute letter, because obviously he was the first husband, and then he knows that his wife went on to channel Seth, and that he wrote his recollections and memories and marriage, and they definitely did love each other, and he wrote something, but we have no idea what he wrote, but I've heard people say that they'd read or saw what was written, and I'm wanting to try to.
Zeth.
What is it?
Walt Zeth.
It's Walt, yeah.
That's
Walt.
it. Walter.
Z.
Walter
Z.
Zeh.
Z-E-H.
Z-E-H. What?
The way that Rob met her, there was a party, but before that, he describes being in a car with a friend or walking somewhere with a friend, and Jane walks by, and he asks, "Who is that?" And the friend tells him. Then they meet later at a party. But Rob's description of seeing her for the first time is absolutely marvelous. I assume it's a true story, but just this instant being drawn to her instantly, and she's walking by and gives him almost no attention whatsoever, you know. But then they meet at a party shortly thereafter, and boom, there it goes.
You know, all these stories are true in different probable realities.
Ah.
I like the one that's developing here. It's got some pretty nice twists and turns in the plot line, you know.
Well, I actually read that. I mean, I didn't invent it.
Oh no, I'm sure you didn't.
No, I mean, I'm just wondering. The source was Rob. Was Rob projecting himself in that case then?
And Jane's, I'm sorry, Kate. I call her Jane because I'm in Jane's chair. She said she just read that in Wikipedia, the story, that it was Walter Zeh.
And that they lived together
Oh.
3 years.
They lived together 3 years,
And
Jane
then
and Walter
she
Zeh.
met Rob in Saratoga.
She met Rob in Saratoga Springs.
That reminds me for a question, because 2 years ago, Jane's piece in Wikipedia is notoriously opposed to metaphysics. So
Yes, I've read those things, yes.
Criticizes those topics. But two years ago, Jane's little piece was literal, a couple of paragraphs. Now it's a long, long page, and I wondered who had written that, who had edited it and put it in, because anyone can make changes if you know HTML in
Sue
any.
Watkins.
Yeah.
Sue Watkins.
And I'm
Sue
wondering
Watkins.
who did it. Who
Sue
might have
Watkins.
Well, no, what I have read, Ron, in Wikipedia sounds a little critical of Jane. Not many, many years ago, when Wikipedia was practically first born, they had a decent write-up about it, but it keeps changing. And you're right, Regina, they are critical of metaphysical things, and they, I think, try to make Jane look like, oh, she could have been kooky because she had a rough childhood, or whatever.
There's one word that's a dead giveaway. They say she claims.
What,
They always
just
use
one
the word
second,
claims.
Ned. just a sec. What they have now is better.
It is?
Longer, better, more thorough, which is why the information Kate just got wasn't there before. That's what I'm saying. I'm wondering who among the Sethians might have done those changes. I was just curious.
Good.
Sue Watkins.
Ron said it was Sue Watkins.
Sue Watkins.
Well, she's
What, Ron? What
in
did
the
Sue
last couple of years, I don't think so.
It's possible. Didn't Sue Watkins pass away like a couple of years ago? Or
Yeah, that's what I
That's,
mean. I don't think, unless she's doing it by projection, I don't think it was Sue Watkins.
Now that would be kind of cool to be able to.
Yeah, it would.
Wikipedia.
does it show the date of like an edit in Wikipedia? If somebody goes in there and makes an annotation.
Oh, you could look at all the edits back
Yeah.
to.
I used to do that. I was hired to do that for about a year. And you just go into the back end of the article, any article they create.
Yeah.
And you can make any changes. Now, if you make changes that the Wikipedia panel does not like, you can not only be kicked out of Wikipedia, you can be arrested.
Wow.
So you have to be
Well,
very
you have to do
careful
something
what
pretty
you-
bad.
Yeah, very
The
bad.
worst thing that usually happens is they just don't publish it. Or
Now,
they
Regina,
unpublish it.
now, interesting, Regina, you say you've had a background in working with that. In little whispers between Kate and I, she admitted she added some things 2 years ago to Wikipedia.
Ah, there you go.
She did it.
About
And
Jane?
I'm like, what?
She's like, what did you put on there? I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
2 years ago, you edited some of that Jane Roberts
just added
Wikipedia?
stuff we knew.
Well, and that's why a lot of Wikipedia information on science and factual information and biography is frequently fine. But there are people whose biography is up there who have lodged major protests saying, I never said that, I never did that. You know, in other words, people can make up stuff
Right.
and put it into actual articles. Usually it's articles that are a little more open-ended
Controversial.
rather than, like I said, scientific. If you look up an article on geology, it's pretty factual.
Yeah.
You know? But if you look one up on a person or a philosophy, and it's a fairly recent philosophy like the Seth works or anything metaphysical, you're going to get in trouble. Yeah.
And they keep
There's-
changing
they-
because anybody can poke in.
Well, they
Anybody
also
can do it.
have
Anyone here
discussions
could go
about
in,
changes.
if you know a little bit, just a little bit of HTML, you can go in. Kate knows, you know, that you just make those changes, you sign off on it.
Yeah, but
And
they
if they don't catch you and you've made changes that are, because I don't know if you've noticed when you go into a Wikipedia article, I won't spend time on this, but sometimes at the top it says, this article needs to be edited or annotated or
Yes.
something.
right, I see that.
Yeah.
That's the Wikipedia police going in and judging, and they look at every single article. They're all over the world, these police. And if they don't like what you've done, they will contact you, and you don't want that.
We're learning so much here, aren't we, gang?
I
Wow.
was so innocent. I just wanted better information.
Yeah.
I love her.
I tell you, I didn't put the stuff up there about her parents, though. I didn't know that. So other people have added to it as well.
And so yeah, the Jane Roberts part can keep changing as time goes on, but wow, we're learning so much.
Yes. I remember looking it up many years ago, and it was just a tiny bit.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's interesting to hear that it is much more substantial now, because I was so disappointed at the time and it was so dismissive. So yes, I'm glad to hear that it's been augmented.
Dismissive. Perfect word.
Yes.
Word.
Yeah, there's been many times I've done research on Wikipedia, and what I do is if I find useful information, I'll cut and paste it and save it, because there's some things that I've found that were really wonderful information, and then I'd go back later and it would be gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I'd be like, you know, my conspiracy theory mind just runs amok. But yeah, you got to cut and paste the information you want to keep, because
yes.
But on the whole, you have to keep it in perspective.
Of course.
I want to say it was Forbes magazine, but I'm not sure, but it was one of the really well-known American magazines, did a study several years ago of Wikipedia versus Encyclopedia Britannica. And they had scholars from all over the world. They didn't tell them which, they showed them identical or not identical, articles on identical subjects from both publications, but didn't tell them which was which, and had them grade these articles on authenticity, clarity of projection, blah, 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 blah. And Wikipedia came out just about the same as Britannica's. Each one had their strengths, each one had their weaknesses. But the difference being that Britannica had a few thousand articles or tens of thousands, whereas Wikipedia had millions and tons of languages. And since then, Britannica is no longer in print. They are online, but you can't buy the volumes anymore because they just couldn't begin to make enough money off them to sell them. That broke my heart in a way because I got Encyclopedia Britannica Senior when I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
Complete with the bookshelf and the big, huge atlas and the 6-inch thick or 10-inch thick dictionary and the whole Marianne. And that's where I learned to read.
Yes.
I mean, it was a C-spot run Britannica. Excuse me. I skipped over everything in the middle. And that was some of my most fondest memories of my childhood, were laying on the floor of my bedroom with 7 or 8 volumes open, going from one cross surface to another, hour after hour after hour. And I would have killed for Wikipedia back then. So keeping in perspective, you know, Wikipedia is one of the most wonderful documents in the world, warts and all.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to come back to before I forget is this is Jane's first book.
Right.
And this is what came of her psychic initiation. You know, it started out, we're going to research a book about ESP and find out what we're going to find out right after that. And going to the Ouija board and then reading and exploring every kind of psychic thing. So this is the first cosmic book Jane put. And this was, let me just tell you this too, putting it all in time. It was 1960 something. It came out. I'm not finding it. It says copyright new printing. I think it was 1966 that the book came out.
That sounds about right.
And so from 63 to 66, she was researching and then, you know, preparation for publishing and all that. And it was published with Fell. F-E-L-L was her first publisher for psychic stuff. And
Frederick Fell.
Yeah, that's it, Frederick Fell. Ron, he's so there with the. Ron is a Seth scholar. He knows.
I have those books. I have those books from Frederick Fell. Yeah. Yeah,
me too. Yeah, and then after this one, it was this one, and then it was Seth Speaks.
Yeah.
And, it just amazes me the wealth of information and what Seth gave us and how it changed all of our lives. Jane and Rob right at the beginning, but the world is a different place. Seth spoke to it. It just blows me away. And here we are, as you were saying, we're all drawn together to talk about this. You know, this is meaningful. This is important.
Well, as Mickey said, and as so many of us have also said, our lives changed immediately.
I have most of Jane's sci-fi novels. I've got them. Next time I'll bring the sci-fi novels to show you.
Great.
From the 50s.
Yeah, because
are you talking about the novels or stories, short stories?
The sci-fi, not for an amazing magazine and stuff.
Right,
like that.
magazine of fantasy and science fiction. She got 7 published there. I only found 1. So you have the others?
Yeah,
you have all of them?
Yeah.
Ah.
It's called eBay. It's called eBay.
That's where I got mine. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Just out of curiosity, what did you have to pay for those, Ron?
Yeah, quite a bit.
$10, $12.
Really?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
I just bought a copy of one of my early internet books, was published in '95, and I had to pay $35 for it.
And Jim,
and I shopped for a while, and I wrote the damn thing, but I lost all my copies, you know.
Well, part of the pricing for the Jane stories, I think it has to do with the fact she's on eBay, not that well known, and the people selling them,
I'm not.
they're just selling them. They're not aficionados.
She's got to be better known than I am
Well,
on
and,
eBay.
and we were fortunate enough that Jim Spaziani tracked down some of these things online, and he Xeroxed them, and he gave us a big pile of some of her stories, Xerox, not original, but we have them. And it's, you know, nice, neat folder of all these stories from all these articles, as well as I have a copy of her novel, The Rebellers. And it's a paperback, but it's on, you know, they used to put 2 novels in one on the old paperbacks. And
Yeah.
so she's on one side.
Novellas.
Yeah, you flip them over and turn them upside down, and there's the other story.
Right. So
I remember that.
Half a paperback. We have that. I've read that. But
Sean, you're dating yourself.
Jane was writing science fiction as a woman in her 20s. She was getting published in her 20s and 30s. Remember, she met Seth when she was 33 here. So she was a published sci-fi author.
She was the first woman published sci-fi.
And she was published in the most prestigious science fiction magazine there is.
In her
Still is.
Like Isaac Asimov was published in that magazine, right?
Yeah, Inner
All
Space.
Ray Bradbury,
Ray
Asimov, Robert Heinlein.
She
all
was
the
an
greats were
up-and-coming
published in that.
sci-fi writer. Remember, she gave up her up-and-coming sci-fi writer to tell the truth
To write
and to
TSP.
research reality and to change our lives.
I was going to say, though, if you read, I'll try and get a PDF if anybody would like to read The Red Wagon.
I'd
love to.
Yes.
You're going to, you know the Seth works. And this is, like you said, she was in her 20s when she wrote this story in 56. So Seth is in the future, but you'll recognize, I swear, the Seth work in this short story is phenomenal. So I'll try and get a PDF and distribute it on your
Facebook page. We can post it on our Facebook page, and then everyone can download it.
I haven't noticed it. There is a
Thank you, Regina.
there is a files section you can put in your group. I don't know if you have one yet. If you have, I haven't seen it. But you can have downloadable file container, so to speak.
That's right. Yeah, documents.
And I don't. Is that set up now or populated?
It comes automatically, I think, with the Facebook.
Well, I know the capacity is, but you have to do something to you have to put something in it, if nothing else. And I'm just wondering if there's anything in it.
Jane was the first sci-fi writer to break into the field dominated by men. They were all male. They were all male sci-fi writers in those magazines. And she submitted articles, and they said, "This is refreshing. We got a woman writing sci-fi." And she broke
she
into
used
that
her real
field.
name too, didn't she?
Yeah.
Not a pen name.
Yes.
She used most of her real name.
Yeah.
Another trivia point from Sean. Go ahead and tell him. Jane's full name was what?
Her full name is Dorothy Jane Roberts.
Oh.
And I know that because my mom's name is Dorothy and my daughter's name is Dorothy. So when I saw that, I'm like, whoa, another Dorothy.
No, there was a wonderful episode of Deep Space Nine where Captain Sisko was in a dream state or something and went back to that period as a magazine writer in a sci-fi magazine, but he was the only black writer on staff. And you know, they finally he wrote something wonderful, but it cast this black guy in the role of a captain of a space station. And they
I remember that. I watched
they
that
just
series
weren't hearing
too.
of that shit. And,
That's, you know what? They feel the same way about the latest iteration of Star Trek on CBS All Access.
Picard?
Well, that's
Which
what
one?
my husband was watching when we started, and I turned it off.
Oh,
It was before Picard.
So anyway,
Discovery or Picard?
women were discriminated against almost as badly in the 50s in that circle.
Right.
You know?
Well, let's jump in real quick here. We have a question, but speaking of Star Trek, speaking of science fiction, somebody's a question on Facebook, and Kate will read it.
That question is, did either Jane or Seth say anything about aliens? I have a book that was channeled by the Arcturians. Also, the last book about conversations with God has references to other beings. Did Seth or Jane say anything about aliens?
Oh, Seth talked a lot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, we're throwing the question out to you guys, so answer.
How about some quotes and some books?
Yep, tell us all about Seth speaking about aliens, all of ya.
I think he at least mentioned in almost all the books, but there
Oh,
were
by
a
the way,
couple-
it's Miriam who asked the question.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question, Miriam. Talk about aliens.
I can't remember what was said. I do
Well, I
remember it
remember
coming
him,
up.
him
What I
saying
remember,
that.
what I remember most was it was talking about astral projecting into other realities, and then coming back and sharing your experience. And what he said was, it's like if you get on an airplane and fly someplace and send back postcards to your friends. What you're doing is you're not really sending back what's really there. What you're doing is you take yourself with you when you go, and when you write it, you're writing as yourself. And it says a lot more about you than it does where you are. And the same thing applies to extraterrestrials, for example. People who have personal experiences, they're telling you what they experienced, not what happened. And there may or may not be much comparison between the two. And so I always take it with a grain of salt. I look at this telling me something about the source rather than telling me something about the reality of aliens.
Ned, I spent about a year in contact with an ET visitor.
Uh-huh.
I met a spaceman face to face. I don't talk about it much.
Oh, I want to hear about it.
You talk about a flesh and blood person or something like that?
He was a non-physical being. And he formed the body of a young man to relate to me. He explained why I was seeing UFOs all over Miami, and I couldn't get answers anywhere. I could not get answers.
So what did he tell you?
They made a decision to contact me and let me know. And of course, my first questions to him for, who are you? Where did you come from? Do you believe in God? Where is God? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? What happens to me when I die? And what is the purpose of life on this planet? Explaining
what did he say?
And what he gave me was he gave me Seth information.
Oh.
He told me that God is electricity. It's the electrical universe. There's no man on a cloud looking down on us. God is inconceivable and incomprehensible electromagnetic that holds everything together in perfect order.
That's how I knew that Seth was for real, was when he first said that there's no gray-haired old man looking down at you from a cloud.
Right.
All right, this guy's not going to try to blow smoke up my skirt, you know.
And it's fascinating. Like Ron has shared with us too his experience with getting really powerful information from someone identifying as alien, and that it kind of prepared Ron for years later when he discovered Seth, and it all added up. And other than the fact that there was an early drawing of Seth, here's a drawing someone made of Seth.
Yeah.
And he looks like that classic conehead alien in a way.
Yeah.
Shades of Roswell.
So Seth said things like, you know, every book has a little something about alien, but Seth is also alluding to, it's not like we see on TV per se. It's interdimensional universe. These are other beings just like us. They're just in other dimensions of reality, and they might be wearing a different spacesuit. I'm wearing this spacesuit. This helps me get around in this environment. But they have different shapes, bigger head, whatever. And he says, yes, these other beings exist in other dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
He's also saying there's something kind of weird about the UFO, the thing flying through space that. Oh, I'm sorry, Ron, try again. Oh, the aliens got him. You know too much.
But you're not paranoid, are you?
There is an unwritten time directive.
Catch that.
With your, this is the elementary level. We're in schoolhouse. They don't fool with us.
My screen says his
Schoolhouse Earth.
bandwidth is low.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah, because it's breaking up. It's hard to hear it. It's very metallic.
Isn't that funny? Ron is channeling an alien, and we can hear it. but I'm glad, Ron, we're getting most of what you're saying, or we can channel the rest of what you mean. Somebody said.
Miriam said, "Careful, Ned. I live in New Mexico. LOL."
Roswell.
Roswell.
I didn't say New Mexico. I only said Roswell.
You went to high school in New Mexico.
That's not my fault.
How did she get there? I mean, did she fly in?
There you go. Inquiring minds want to know.
Ben's on again. He said, "Hi, Kate."
He said, "Hi, Kate. Let's discuss." Other things from Facebook? We're doing great. Has anybody else had like some kind of what we'll call alien or interdimensional contact with someone not quite like us? Out of this world?
The aliens shut him up, Ron.
Oh, aliens shut Ron up. You're
Never.
saying too much, Ron. Plug on Ron quick. He's about to divulge.
You're not authorized to share that information.
That was the first warning, Ron.
Our Earth did not originate here. We came from up there.
Yeah, we are a mixed
Colonized.
people. Seth does say that we have a mixture of a gene pool.
Yeah.
At least 4 species. That is in personal sessions, is it? Or I think that's in personal sessions. That's really hidden away. Not even early sessions.
Might have been mentions of that in Unknown Reality.
Yeah, he sprinkles it throughout the book, but I think one time he actually says there were at least 4 genetic bases in our ancestry. And that's pretty wacky wild.
Well, in Unknown Reality, it talks about other earlier civilizations of which we have no physical knowledge.
Exactly.
Can anyone hear me? So just a quick search on the search engine, and I am seeing 804 references to the word alien.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do your
He
homework.
says quite a bit. Not quite a bit.
He often uses the term alien, though, that this may seem alien to you, but it's the way he puts alien in quotation marks sometimes, like, they would seem very alien to you. So Rob put quotations around alien again. But yeah, check out alien. One time I went down the rabbit hole with it. FindingSeth.com is a search engine for finding Seth quotes and stuff, what Seth said. So alien, yeah, rabbit hole, go for it. What Seth said about
Nature of mass events. Just the very first thing that came up says, if, for example, one adult human being were perceived by an alien from another world, certain facts would be apparent. Even though such an alien came upon a lone member of your species in otherwise uninhabited land, the alien could make certain assumptions from the individual's appearance and behavior.
So do you think he's saying he believes in aliens?
Hypothetical aliens.
Okay.
Well, the bottom line is we create our own reality. If you want to create aliens, shazam, there they are. In some form.
Well, I think the alien might want to take full credit for creating themselves, and maybe they don't call themselves aliens. Maybe they call themselves Ernest and,
Well, to them, we're probably alien.
Yeah.
No flying saucer before it's time, right?
In their reality, we're probably the aliens.
Yes!
Right.
And I can believe we're aliens.
Yeah.
We are.
In the early session, one, just very simply, it was asked of him, has Earth been visited by alien life? And his answer was, of course, ... alien life can't see each other.
Oh.
But
what?
What?
Alien lives can't see each other. It's in session
That's
one,
not true.
session 5.
That's not true.
The early sessions, book 1, session 5.
I don't
Session
quite buy that.
That was like he was just starting to spell the word hello, you know.
Well, I'm reading. I don't make this up. I'm reading it.
I'll be right back.
1963.
Just talk amongst yourselves. Sixth session.
Gang, my internet signals.
We lost Ron again.
He said my
It's
internet
taking
signal,
him.
and I think he was probably going to say something bad about it.
He got beamed up, as they say. Oh, he's back. Welcome back, Ron.
Well,
So session 5 of the Ouija board time was very choppy still, and I wouldn't say that was very choppy. But
it's paragraph 37 and 38.
I gotta go. I'm gonna run. See you guys.
Love
Okay,
it.
the internet connection is going in.
glad you hit. So glad you were here. You get an A in show and
Okay,
tell.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, leave meeting.
he gets an A in show and tell. And now we have a freeze frame of him.
Or bring and brag, depending on what you prefer.
And now he's on freeze frame. We can always have him in memory, even though is he still there in the actual thing? Doesn't he look beautiful though? That's a nice photo of him. So more about aliens, folks. Did anybody else have any kind of experience with what we call alien, which may actually be just the rest of our cosmic family?
I did. Well, not personally, not face to face, but my daughter and I did see a UFO. We were coming back we live in Florida, and we were driving back from Massachusetts, and it was like 3 in the morning, and I was coming up to a stoplight, and I was looking in the sky because there was this weird thing, and I'm like, what is that? And my daughter saw it better than I did, and I can't remember. It was just this, I don't know, it was this thing in the sky, but it like disappeared like that. Like we were looking at it, trying to figure out what the heck this thing was, and then it just like, regular aircrafts don't do that. Like it just disappeared.
You spotted a classic UFO experience. Yes, you had it.
Do dreams count?
Huh?
Do dreams count?
No.
Didn't think so.
I didn't catch what he said.
But he was trying. But so you and your daughter both saw it go. Whoop.
Yeah, because we were looking at it, and she saw it better than I did because I was like, what was that? And she said that it was definitely some sort of craft, some sort of aircraft, and it just disappeared.
I have a story. When I drove cross country coming from California back here, I went deliberately through Roswell. They were night. I mean, there was no way I could do that.
Right. I'd go miles out of my way to do that. I'd go miles out of my way.
Really. When I got to heading towards the town, by the time I got there, it was nightfall, probably about 7:30 p.m. No, I'm sorry, no, it was 8:30.
Talking about who's seen a
And
UFO?
when I was there, as I'm driving along, there's this field on the right side.
Some of them have.
Very dark. It's got a few trees. And then I come across a sign that says, "This is where it happened." That's all it says, right? So I'm very pleased. I'm pretty sure I can check in town. Is that where the alleged, what I believe is a real event took place? However, this is a lonely road. There's no other cars on it but me. So I'm driving on and I come to a crossroads, a fork in the road. and I don't know which way to go, and there's a cabin right at the fork. So I figure, well, there's no lights in the window. I'll just choose one way and go. At that point, behind this cabin, this huge light appeared. Massive light. Just filled the back of the cabin in the sky. Not a sound. I could hear nothing. Just this. I stopped the car. I was absolutely thrilled and terrified at the same moment. I waited 5 minutes, nothing. Just this light was there. Then finally I said, this is ridiculous. If I'm going to meet these aliens, I'm going to meet these aliens, because I really believed at that point there must be something going on back there. I drove around, and what it was were 3 workmen sitting down having lunch, sandwiches at night, with their spotlights they had just put on because they were going to repair an electric line. There was not a sound, just these huge spotlights and these 3 sitting there. I got to tell you though, for 5 minutes.
Now here's the big question, Regina. Are you sorry you went out and saw what it really was before?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, it's like, well, there goes the mystery. So much for romance.
Regina, that was so beautifully told. I was right there with you. And as they again, so it was like the workmen.
That's one of the great moral dilemmas is to whether I pull back the screen or not, pull back the curtain and see the wizard or not, you know.
Yes.
And you never know what's behind that curtain. It could be something spectacular, or it could be just a little old man, you know.
I want to know.
I don't know if the UFO museum is still in Roswell, but when I was there, and this is some years back, probably, I don't know, 2005. When I was there, the museum was fantastic. It had a piece of the original thing that landed. The museum was perfect. It had artifacts, I suppose I should say, and they were verified and everything according to your state of mind. I was a total believer, still am. But it was a beautifully laid out museum with a kind of, what do they call the people who guide you? A docent. And it was so real. It was an amazing experience. It wasn't your average souvenir type museum. It was a place you almost felt like you speak in a hushed voice. It was amazing. I don't know if it's still there, but it was a beautiful little museum, and they had very realistic artifacts and postcards that I still have. It just was a wonderful final experience to visiting Roswell.
I have absolutely no doubt that we are not alone.
Agree.
I have for years been absolutely certain that one day, whether it's in my lifetime or not, we're going to open up the front page of the newspaper or whatever takes its place, and it's going to say, we are not alone in letters that high. There's no question in my mind that's going to happen. Maybe sooner, maybe later, but it's going to happen. Could be.
We might wonder why, but we might wonder why they want to even come visit us. I mean, given how we carry on.
Well, there was another interesting episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where this alien came on the ship, and they said, where'd you come from? And he told them, said, why haven't you visited us before? And he said, well, I don't want to be insulting, but you just weren't very interesting.
Yeah.
But now we're starting to think you are a little interesting, hence here I am. I thought that was wonderful.
James' book, somebody mentioned before, The Rebellers, is all about a plague. Did you know that?
No.
About a plague that takes over the world and nearly destroys it.
Was that the last book she published before ESP?
I think she wrote that.
You're right, Regina. It was about a plague, The Rebellers. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Was that the last book of her own that she wrote before she started writing the ESP book?
Yes. She had finished writing that book. It came out.
That's the way I recall it, but wasn't sure if I was right.
Yeah, she was wondering what she wanted to do next when Seth says, I have an idea.
Yeah, right.
Rebellers was about a play.
Oh, Rupert.
Here in Elmira. I mean, every now and then I think of the Rebellers and look out her window and think,
Yeah.
she's writing that here, looking out this window. And imagining the people kind of going wacky in Elmira. And now you're connecting it with this darn.
Now they are going wacky in Elmira.
Let's get out of here. No.
You know, I look at all the things that happened in her life prior to the arrival of Seth full-fledged, and look at it as kind of like a long series of foreplay.
Yeah.
Getting her warmed up and ready
Yeah.
for Seth. And that the dress rehearsal was the essay we were talking about of idea construction. And I was like, okay, past that one, let's get on with it.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else, all the sci-fi stories and everything else was just ramping up. And the things we've talked about today fleshed out that picture in my mind a great deal more than it ever was before. And I see the Catholic upbringing as being a major part of that.
But she had plenty to rebel against, as did many people who had to deal with
nuns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
These stories about
But she could have chosen to be a Baptist, fairly narrow-minded, Mormon.
So Seth said there were parallel Janes. One parallel Jane chose to be a nun. Other parallel Janes chose to be other things. And this is the one where she chose to be a writer, then she chose to be a channel for Seth. And by the way, Kate brought it up earlier, and I don't want to forget this. Jane's 91st birthday will be happening on May 8th. Last year, 1 year ago, we had a big birthday party for Jane's 90th birthday here at the house. It was wonderful. We had planned on having another big bash to celebrate Jane's birthday next week.
The 8th will be Friday.
And you know what happened. So we can't have a party.
No, they won't let us have a party.
Yeah, but we honor her and love her and wish her a happy birthday. And we will have gatherings here again. But we just have to, say, yes, this coming Friday is Jane Roberts' birthday.
Mm-hmm.
We could have a Zoom party.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll sign on.
We'll see what happens if we do will announce it, but I'm feeling like, I don't know, it's just, we would have had a big bash to celebrate her.
Ron planned on bringing everything up. He would have been here, probably leaving
right now.
Tomorrow.
He'd have been here right about now.
And he was going to leave the collection here through Rob's birthday in June, so that more people could get to see it and experience it.
And that's changed.
I mean, that is right. Everything has changed.
But that was so magnificent of Ron. He's not here right now. He signed off, but we'll talk about him behind his back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How much we love him.
And how much, he, by the way, we should say too, Rob's birthday is in June 20th, right? 20th. So it's kind of like Jane's birthday, May 8th, Rob's birthday, June 20th. So he would have left his collection here for that whole month and a half or 2 months.
Yeah.
And so we trust the unfolding of the universe in all ways. And there will be, we will have festivities will happen here again. But you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. We kind of enjoy goofing off.
No.
A lot of work to do that. And Kate was taking it easy for a while. We needed a break. So, we trust the universe for giving us a vacation. We were working so hard. But
we're working harder on our vacation.
I know, we're working even harder. There is no vacation for us. But interesting to think of all the different parallel realities. And my favorite parallel reality is in a reality near us. Jane never died. Jane is still alive, still Jane.
Yes.
She's
yes.
only 91.
I never thought of that.
So where do I find that alternative?
Well, Seth says we just have to change our focus, our consciousness.
Tune to a different station.
Yeah, and there's many realities where Jane is alive, still channeling and perfectly healthy. And we got to read all the books. And a big party happens here to honor Jane eternally. So there's a lot of realities that we're overlapping in, but I think the main thing Seth was giving to the reality we're all sharing right now is you can do this.
Yeah.
He is telling us we can all expand our awareness beyond anything we could possibly imagine right now. We are part of all that is. It is our birthright as souls to explore this universe that we are co-creating.
Yeah.
We can go anywhere with our awareness.
Well, we're also, all of us right now, with Jane, having a conversation.
Yes.
Just as we are. Probable
suspect it's
selves
not
of our
verbatim.
selves are talking now about the probable selves we are right here talking
Yeah.
now.
Oh. Oh, that's nice.
But it's true that there's so much life overlapping and so much information being exchanged. Probable yous, probable everyone's, probable Janes, all interacting.
Yes.
Information, soul growth. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
You have to have a certain kind of mind to be able to just toss things like that around like we are right now without feeling overdosed, being overwhelmed. And so many people wouldn't even be able to get to the point where they were overwhelmed. They would have, just kind of went brain dead before that even happened.
But someday they will. It's everyone's reality, whether or not you're specializing right now in something that you need to focus on.
I think it's a long way off. I think it's a long way off.
Well, I think the universe is plenty patient.
Yes.
And the thing is, before we came into this reality, this probably was common knowledge for all of us. We knew we were living in parallel realities. We knew there's probable us's. And we chose to specialize in this life to wear this name, do these things for the growth of our consciousness.
And look at how long some of us have been involved in this to get to the now of it.
This reality could change on a dime.
Mm.
And has.
Time. In a linear sense, yeah, maybe it will, but maybe not. In a linear sense even, it can change on a dime.
Yes.
Something can happen.
And in a non-linear sense,
what could
even more
happen
so.
in the next minute that could possibly alter the state of the world as we know it, much less a probable world.
Yes.
What could propel us into something completely different?
Look how fast the coronavirus has done something like that. I mean, the coronavirus, it may have taken a few weeks, but it sure put the world on its ears.
Yes.
So, and individually and collectively, there's no limit to, as Regina says, it can turn on a dime. It can turn on when we choose, I want to know more, teach me, that opens all the doors up and stuff starts to enter or inside or out. I mean, it depends on our willingness to be open to it. And sometimes the universe doesn't wait. It just goes, yeah, she's ready now. And then boom, we get our, Jane wasn't looking for it when she sat here writing poetry in September of '63. I think she had such a questioning mind though. Like, what is this? And how can I help? What is going on? How can I help? And she got her answer.
Boy, did she ever.
and her answer gave us more questions and gave us more answers. So it's like, but I think it's up to all of us to be messengers in a way for what our higher self is giving us, which is amazing life experience. We're always being fed with life and everything that energizes us and plugs us into the infinite and helps us grow. And we can be co-creators. It's pretty. We can be co-creators in helping each other by having breakthroughs, by having spiritual experiences like she's describing, like other people describe too. I think it's everyone's job to have these psychic breakthroughs, not just for ourselves, but for each other.
Well, your mind has to be open.
Or it'll get blown open.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all of our minds are open. Every single one of us here. Your minds are obviously open, or you wouldn't be spending.
Yeah, if your eye wasn't open, what the hell would you be doing here?
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
But I think of the time, I can remember the moment that I opened the first page of The Nature of Personal Reality, the first encounter with Seth. which a friend gave me, I mentioned before, who'd never read the books and could care less about it. But I remember opening it and having no idea what I was about to encounter for the next 30 years. Absolutely riveted on those opening pages. But in terms of being open-minded, I would say at that point in time, I was very mundane about metaphysics and all those kinds of things. I wasn't looking for that kind of information. I don't know that maybe obviously some part of me was willing to receive it, but I wouldn't say I was open-minded at that point in time. And I would say it's reading the Seth material over time that has transformed my whole life. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you encounter it because you're open-minded, but like Jane received it, we receive it, or some of us can receive it on the instant. And we're changed, but we don't always know exactly how much until as time goes on, we experience it.
When I read Seth Speaks, I foolishly thought that this is it. My life is changed in every way. Well, yeah, that was sort of true, but I was thinking that my money problems would be gone. I would never have any relationship problems. All my problems were solved. I didn't know there was a lot of assembly required. And that was 46 years ago, and I'm still working on it. But I fully tell me, I was going around, I was happy as if I was in my right mind, thinking, oh boy, I'm done here. You know, it's all fixed. So, geez.
It takes time to unfold in one's life.
It takes, what it takes is giving up all of the lies that we bought into that kept us away from seeing it.
And that takes time.
I think Mickey's word unfolding is the best word to use.
It's an excellent word.
Seth material.
Yeah.
Unfolding and also unfolding according to our capacity to receive.
Yes.
As we go along, because I know that if I'd started with the nature of mass events, if the mass events book, it would not have given me the same input and progression. Whereas I read each book in sequence, and I feel there was an education, a metaphysical education that happened progressively that way.
The way I look at it, it's like when you get a new piece of clothing, you have a hook on the wall that you hang it on. And if you get a related piece, you hang on the same hook. But what if you don't have a hook? What if you get something new and there's no hook? You try to put it on the wall and it just falls into a pile on the floor. And that's what happens when you haven't like read the earlier Seth books, but you jump into mass events. You have no hooks to hang it on. And so some of it brings its own hooks with it, but the rest of it winds up in a pile on the floor.
While you build a hook.
Hopefully, yeah, at some point. But you know, that to me is a really graphic metaphor for the whole process.
Well put.
And so it's important to have the hooks there, even if you don't know what's going to wind up on them. You know, use them like a bookmark. Well, something important is going to go on this hook later. I don't know what it is. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I got the hook. And then one day, there it is.
We run into things that constitute the clothing you're mentioning. And if we don't have a hook, then the clothing has to wait long enough for us to figure out what a hook is and figure out how to get one.
Well, fortunately, those pieces of clothing don't have an expiration date.
Exactly. It just kind of waits in consciousness for you to grow into the wisdom you've run into.
On the other hand, you can wind up with a pretty big pile and you have to sort through it to find anything. You know, it's not an ideal arrangement, let's put it that way.
Yeah, as long as that garment you found doesn't close in the back.
Well, even that's okay if you're going to be going into a hospital. At least it's appropriate there.
Yeah, it's a learning process.
On the other hand, we're all creating this. We know exactly what we're doing, even if we don't know consciously. There's no accidents.
No, I agree.
You know, I mean, you have to surrender to that. Otherwise, you're lost.
It's such a process. It is such a process. To me, all of life is a process. And you focus on different aspects.
Have you read the Seth's commentaries on the three primary cosmic dilemmas?
I'm not sure that I have.
Well, the first cosmic dilemma is that all consciousness wants to experience itself completely. Problem is that every time it experiences one part of itself, it multiplies the unexpressed infinitely.
Ah.
And so the hurrier you run, behinder you get. That's
Yes.
the dilemma. I want to express everything, but it's getting away from me.
No,
And
I'm
the
not
second-
familiar with that actually.
This was the
can
launching
understand
pad
how
for
that would be
my
true.
first book. The
Oh,
second
for your
cosmic
book.
dilemma.
Okay, no, I just don't think that's Seth. I think that's for
Oh,
your
it is Seth. Oh, it is Seth. Trust me, I copied it right out of the damn book. I don't remember which book it was.
Getting a yes from Shauna? Shauna what? Oh, okay.
You're muted.
Shauna.
You're muted. Shauna, you're muted.
All
There you
right.
go. There you go.
Shauna speaks.
What were
Yeah,
you
I
saying?
think it's from the Seth material.
I think it is.
It's in the beginning of the Seth material. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, and the second cosmic dilemma comes from the first one, which your reaction to this runaway self-expression is, stop the world. I want to get off. I want to put a stop to this. The problem is that you can't stop it. And Seth goes on to talk about identity, and he defines identity as action's effect upon itself. If you stop the action, you kill the identity. You decreate it. And so as much as you'd like to stop it, because it's getting away from you, if you do that, you'll cease to exist.
Huh.
And the third dilemma comes from that one, which is an attempt to put the two together, to solve the problem. So, I look at that and I look at Seth's essay on the birth of all that is, and that pretty much gives the grassroots of everything that he says otherwise. It's all there in those few pages in the Seth material, and I picked, trying to remember where the all that is story is. Somebody help me out. It might be in the material.
It might be there too. It might be there.
I think that might be.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and that just really to me is the most important. It's the densest collection of insight.
Mm.
And when you
That's
talk
why
about
you read
Seth,
it for
to
20
say it's
years
a
and
dense,
never feel like you've read it, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when I say dense, and you're talking about Seth, that's saying it's the densest Seth. That is like seriously dense. Because the word, the most diffused of Seth is dense.
This is the most dense Seth book that I've read so far. I still struggle with this book. It's a wonderful challenge, but it is a challenge.
Yes, I've had the same experience with that. My favorite.
That
And
book,
I don't
favorite.
remember
I
hardly
just wanted
anything.
to
from
say,
it.
would you hold that book up in the back cover again? That's my favorite picture of Jane.
Oh, yeah.
It's
What a
just
great
wonderful.
picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I encountered that picture, I just felt she became so real to me.
Yes, I
It's
agree.
just a remarkable picture. I just wanted to
She
see
was
it.
with her
Sorry to
father.
interrupt, Vicki.
She was on some lake I think she was on a lake here in California or
She
a
was
beach in
visiting her
California.
dad.
Her dad,
Yeah.
uh-huh. Mhm.
Yeah.
Delmer.
Sean, did you say you were somewhere near Stockton?
Was she somewhere?
No,
I'm
you.
not sure. No, I'm in Linwood, California. So I'm not too far from LA. I'm in LA County.
Okay.
I think Jane's father was living in Santa Monica, California. I heard the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, she sure looks happy, doesn't she?
She does. She looks
Yeah.
happy. She's happy. She's
She has a
beautiful.
beautiful
Yeah.
smile on that picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
when she
wonder- I
became
wonder how
really
long-
human to me. I mean, really, that was the Jane person to me when I saw that.
Well, you know, it always annoyed me a little how in the late 60s and early 70s when they published her work, the Seth material, they always made her look so scary and so,
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, so so
Cold.
supernatural and spooky.
Cold and
Yeah.
hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was Laurel who picked out the picture for that book of Jane in the boat.
Oh, is
Oh,
that
yeah.
that picture? Okay. I
I
wonder
heard
who
that.
got the picture on Seth Speaks, the original edition.
I don't know, but it
Really
was.
No, I
awful.
just think it's nice that Laurel gave us this whole
Yeah.
other vision.
Yeah.
This is
I like
my
that picture,
favorite
too.
picture of Jane channeling Seth. Like this is
I
my
like
favorite
that
picture
picture.
of Seth.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I like that one.
compassionate eyes.
Yeah.
That's Seth coming through Jane's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of
And
love.
some of those pictures were taken by a local photographer here at the Star Gazette paper. A lot of these, so it says like photo Rich Conz, C-O-N-Z. But yeah, they must have taken lots of photos, but yes, some of them looked not so good of her. And, but she's a beautiful woman.
She's very cute. Mm-hmm.
Very cute. Oh, heck, I'd have dated her. Shit.
Uh-huh.
And again, she was, oh my
I
gosh.
like those pictures.
Go ahead.
I said I like those pictures too.
Yeah, especially that one. So she, like all of us, we can all take good pictures and bad pictures depending on the lighting and what Kate.
Right.
Yeah, you can see it because of the lighting. Oh, okay. But yeah, and mostly it's like her beautiful soul. I mean, through her beautiful soul came. Oh yeah, the light is getting wonky now. But
The sun's not out. Let's try to open it.
do you guys want a tour of the place? Or I love her talking.
I'm going to sign off. I just wanted to thank everyone for a lovely discussion as usual. It's just great to be here and listen to you all. To have the first 16 years that I read the Seth material, the books, there wasn't a single soul I met who had done the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to the conferences at the end of the 90s, it was a thrill to meet so many people, and ever since then to know more. But to have this opportunity to talk and listen to people, especially to listen to people like all of you who are so caring about this material, who want to see it thrive, is a wonderful experience for me. And I have to say, in this type of thing, God bless the internet,
Ah,
Okay.
yes. Yes.
So thank you all. I'll see you next time.
While you
See
were
you next
talking,
time, Regina.
you put me in
Bye-bye.
mind of something
Bye-bye.
I've never
Bye.
thought about before.
Don't you be in here.
One of the things about family is that you share memories together,
Yes. Yeah,
And this is very much like that. I never realized it before.
it is.
But so when we first meet, I've never met Mickey before, but we
Right.
already share an enormous amount of the most important things in our lives,
Yes.
And and every time a bunch of us get together, we automatically know that we're sharing a massive amount of perceptions, beliefs, attitudes in common,
Yeah.
without even thinking about it.
It's a wonderful vibrational overload. It's a whole vibrational connection that I had never experienced before. And I love it. I've been on other conference calls and so forth, but this has something vibrational that is not to be denied or taken lightly, and I really appreciate that. I really do.
Me too.
Oh,
Me too.
Group hug, group hug.
Yeah, really.
Wait, elbows.
elbows.
I was just going to say, we got to do an elbow thing here. Actually, the truth is, we could all get up there and kiss the screen.
Yeah.
And be perfectly safe as long as nobody else sneezes.
Yeah, as long as we all use our little masks.
Yeah,
Right for the.
Well, I'm wearing my imaginary mask.
There you are. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Ready for a screen kiss. Screen kiss. Come on.
Amazing.
Oh, how hysterical.
Well, it's very nice for me because I have had nobody to talk to about Seth
Yeah.
for 40 plus years.
It makes a difference.
It does.
It makes a big difference. Yeah.
I was very fortunate when I first started reading Seth. I was also teaching. And though the classes, I was teaching in different classes, but one of them was astrology. And so my astrology students got astrology filtered through my Sethian interpretation.
Ah.
And so I'm reading from Seth every class, and they were eating it up. And so I had in my students, I had a small but built-in network of people who either had read or were reading Seth.
Ah.
and they were all really high on it, and so we got to have a lot of fun with it. And I remember, for example, there was one gal that I was really close to for several years, and we went for a drive in the country one day, and we were coming back, and it was getting almost dark, and we're coming up this hill, and we'd been talking nonstop for like 3 hours, and we fell silent for a couple of minutes, and then this dog ran out across in front of us, and I slammed on the brakes, missed the dog, and we looked at each other, and we started laughing hysterically, and it turned out we were both thinking the same thing. We had to do something to get us talking again. So we created this dog. And we had so much fun with that.
That is amazing. Well,
And that was in like 1976, I think.
Oh.
75 or 76. Oh.
Well, I'm deeply into astrology as well.
Then you need to read my book because it
yes,
it
I will look
redefines
you up.
It redefines astrology in terms of set. Well, I said the first 20 pages.
That I can't wait. I will be fingers dialing in a minute.
I saw the book. I saw. Is it on? It's on Amazon. Is it on Amazon or?
No, it's not on Amazon. It's on a place called Smashwords. It's kind of like Amazon.
Yes, I've heard of them.
Yeah, I saw the book. You
can read all the direct Seth stuff for free if you want the rest of it. I think it goes through. I start with the Seth stuff and laying the groundwork, and then learning some concepts, and I get into planets, signs and houses in that order, and then other aspects of stuff after that. And I think the free part goes all the way up to and including the first few signs.
Mm-hmm.
It covers all the preliminary stuff. Which
and where can that be found?
It's called Smashwords.
Yes. Okay.
I'll put the link. I'll put the link in the chat window.
All right, put it in Facebook.
Okay.
I'll do that right now.
Yeah. I remember you saying that normally our perspective is we take our time and date of birth and view it and see how these stars affect us based on where, when we're born. But rather than that, you turn it around on its head and say, how does our time of our birth affect the heavens?
Not quite.
Yes.
But it's the more accurate way to put it. She's on the right track, but the more accurate way is instead of telling us how astrology makes us, my view is this is how you make astrology.
Yes. Oh gosh, I can't wait to hear the mixture of the two things. The two most important
concept,
things to me.
The basic concept is really pretty simple. It's just that there's each moment in the universe is like a snapshot of the universe. And everything in that snapshot is symbolically different expressions of the same thing.
Yeah.
And you, having been born in that moment, are another expression of that same cosmic event.
And each of you, each of the yous.
And so are the positions of the planets. The key thing is, if you understand, the better you understand one, the better you understand them all.
Yeah.
So if you can cross-reference between the planets and yourself, I know this about me, I know this about the planets, and if you mirror them back and forth, you learn more about both.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I'm so excited.
Well, it was out of print for about 40 years, and then I ran into I was doing a search on it one day just to see if there was anything out there on the internet, and I found a very brief review, like a one-liner, from this guy, and it said something about integrating Seth with astrology. And he said, "This is a must-read." And I told a friend of mine about that, and the guy's name, he said, he's kind of a wheel in online astrology. And so I found an email address for him. I sent him an email and thanked him for what he said. And one thing led to another, and I'd already had it published on Smashwords, so I gave him the address. And I have sold 1 or 2 copies of that book every month for the last 3 years or so since that happened. And I know to a moral certainty they all came from him. So that was a big surprise. Anyway, so the ebook is out there.
You're going to sell another one in about 30 seconds.
But I'll go ahead and put that on the
it on our chat right here.
Yeah.
Facebook chat. Now, I think 4 of you are new, I think. And so 4 of you have not seen the Seth apartment where Seth channeled most of the book. So what we can do, and I think we can get it down to like 5 minutes, is carry this computer around. Would you guys want to see the apartment? I'm seeing some heads nod. Good. Even if you've been here before, it's always a different show because we see one thing. You know, the first time we forgot to put the sound on.
Okay, so here's what we need everybody to do. Pin this video that you see with Oshar and I, pin this by going up to the upper right-hand corner of this picture.
Oh, go to my picture.
Right here, boop, and go to the 3 dots and say pin this video, so it will show the full size.
So I just pinned it and it's big me.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Go to what?
The picture you're seeing right here of me and Oshara, go to the upper right-hand corner and you'll see dot, dot, dot in a blue box. Click on that and it says pin video.
And we get big.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is
No, I
write
see
in.
gallery view.
No,
and-
not up there.
No, just the box where we're
just
in.
This little
Oh,
Just this box we're in.
right click or direct click? I'm clicking.
If you right click, it'll give you 2 choices, you'll give you a choice of which screen you blow it up on.
No.
I don't know.
It'll say
either.
pin video
I have
to.
Shauna
You
now
one than
on
the
big
other.
screen.
Is it making us big?
No, I got Shauna big. Sean.
Oh,
big.
okay, good.
So
Well,
you must be on speaker view.
she's
then.
nice to look at.
Yeah.
Very.
Okay.
Okay. So has everybody got the idea? Go to our box, upper right corner, 3 dots. Click it somehow where it says.
I get the 3 dots for everybody except the big box.
Are we big? That's all we need. Because all we're saying is if you make us big, then
Yes,
you
you
can
are.
see the house better.
All right,
Okay.
here we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Where do you want to start?
Oh, let's start here.
All right, here we go. There's the front door.
Bye.
Honey,
Well, shut the front door.
This is the front door.
this looks black to me. I can't see anything.
Can you see us okay? We got back
Yes.
already? Okay,
No,
I'll just
we
keep
can
going.
see you.
All right.
We can see you.
This now as Jane, I almost called you Jane again.
I know. I
So
got
go further towards the door, and you can see this is when someone would first walk in. Here you are. Right around here is where Jane did much of the channeling, if not most of it. Rocker would be somewhere around here. Okay.
All right.
Her
I'll
rocker
stop
would be
wiggling.
her rocker would be right around here. You know, it'd move around. There's pictures of her where she has a room divider here with a shelf, and then she would be like in front. So and then there's other times where they said, you know, she had her foot on the coffee table. Ron owns that coffee table.
We saw it today.
And
Yeah.
Rob would sit here taking notes as Jane channeled.
On the back of the Ouija board.
Yeah. There's also the video where she has the rocker right here with the door right behind her. So anyway, right around here is where she sat in the rocker channeling Seth for most of those years. It's exciting.
Now, does everybody see the refrigerator?
Yes.
The refrigerator is in the living room. Now, Rob and Jane kept their refrigerator in the bathroom. We're
In the bathroom.
We're going to show you the kitchen first, and you'll see why.
Kitchen's right over there.
Go ahead, Miss
As we
O'Shara.
walk
Go
in.
in there.
Oh.
It's teeny tiny. It's like 7 feet deep.
You could not fit a refrigerator in here. So that's why they put it in the bathroom.
There is one drawer in the whole kitchen. One drawer.
I don't have one.
This is the original. This is what Jane pulled wooden spoons out of, and it hasn't been painted. And I get these feelings when I touch
Yep,
some of
there's
this
2
stuff.
cupboards.
And just the tea and coffee, you know. That this is where Jane and Rob lived their real human life. And here we can open this.
Oh, here, I'll hang out the window. Oh, Shara can talk.
And that's the view from their open window.
Can you guys see the river?
That is the Chemung River that overflowed in 1972. That's the corner of Water Street and Walnut Street. They're working on the bridge right now.
Yeah, and you can see the river is very high because we've had high rains. But when it flooded, it was probably almost to the top of those first-story windows.
And it knocked the
What?
out.
Yeah.
1972, huge flood.
And Jane and Rob, and it's in Nature of Personal Reality, they stayed through the whole thing.
Yes.
Because they're on the second floor, they were safe.
Yes, I've read that. Yeah.
So show us the high water mark that Jane put on the wall.
Oh, it's not on the wall. What they described was the red brick house on the other side of the building.
Oh.
Now you see Kate.
Now Kate's in here.
And these bay windows, oh God, let's hope, yeah, you can see them. These bay windows are famous in the books.
Yes.
And that is the view. And remember one of the early sessions when Seth started channeling through Jane. Seth said, you know, it was like a cold winter's night. And he's like, can I go see out your window? And, you know, he came to one of these windows, you know, maybe this one or that one, who knows? He looked out at our world and he said some beautiful things about it. So these are the original glass that Seth, Jane, and Rob looked out of. We saved them. And one thing we're proud of too, this was crumbling, this window, and we restored it. A lot of work went into saving the glass. It was falling apart.
When we took this apartment over 2 years ago, August,
yeah,
there were men's dirty socks stuffed in the windows to keep out cold and bugs.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it was falling apart, crumbling. And yeah, they stuffed socks in here to keep the cold out.
Yep.
So we had to put this on in the glass, and so much went into restoring this, pulling the glass out. We're saving this place. It has to be saved. We have to honor what happened here.
Yes.
God damn it, we've got to honor what happened here. It's falling apart. It could have become, it still is falling apart. The rest of the building's crazy. But now we're going to show you something really neat.
Oh, the mirror. Woo.
This is a way old mirror, and there's photos of this mirror. Jane, Rob, and Seth looked in this mirror. It's still
honey,
here.
there is like strange, crazy lines.
Blue light.
Is Seth here? God, look at what it's doing, honey.
What is there blue?
Look on the screen. Look at look at what's happening. There is something going on in the mirror.
Yes.
Look at it. You see that?
There's
Yes.
and
I see it.
oh my God.
There's orbs and
We
blue
do
light.
this every weekend. We have never seen this.
Welcome home.
I see it.
Oh my
In
God.
baby blue.
Woo! Now I can't see it with my physical eye.
Not on, but it's coming through on the machine.
Yeah.
Hello,
Whoa.
friends.
Hey, Seth.
Hi, Seth. Welcome back.
Woo! We love this stuff.
And it was in this mirror that in the early months of their work that Seth and Jane and Rob and a friend of theirs, Bill McDonald, looked into this mirror to see Jane's face changing. They did other things that happened here in this more blue stuff. I can see it.
Oh yeah. It's
With a bright spot. With the bright spot at the
I'm
top.
gonna look up and see what's going on up there. Yeah, it's up the ceiling.
Let me open this without a mirror.
All right.
It's still blue.
Oh my God, it's even stronger. Oh my God.
My head's getting pointed.
Oh my God.
That was unbelievable. There was definitely a figure.
Whoa.
There was definitely a figure.
Yeah.
A figure?
It's there.
Oh, there it is.
Oh my.
I see it.
Incredible. Oh, sure. Oh my God.
And this is where the apparition appeared, was right here in this doorway. The pointing head at Seth, this is where the apparition appeared. There's this blue light.
It's in front of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's right where your hand is now. There. Yes.
Actually, I hate to burst your bubble, but if you wiggle the camera, it goes away because it's just a light reflection. And the reason it's happening now and it didn't before is because the light's much brighter than it has been in the past.
Now that wasn't a reflection.
What's it reflecting?
Not a reflection. It's an optical phenomenon of some kind. I can't tell for sure exactly what it is.
On you, Nick.
I've been watching it very closely.
On you,
On the other hand, I could be wrong.
Blu-ray!
As you were saying, it was something reflected. While you were saying there was something reflected, there was a long streak with a bright ball on the end that went up toward the ceiling.
Yeah, I saw that.
In the midst of that, so
It's called lens flare. J.J. Abrams uses it a lot in his movies.
There you go. Thank you for coming up with the
lens flare. I'll have to look that up.
I think
But
that was
it's
lens
still
flare.
pretty.
It was still nice. I love the way it was
Very
perfect. It was
strange.
here in the middle of the door. I mean, it looked like an apparition or some sort of an energy essence personality.
Yeah,
Who was still focused in physical form.
it was unusual.
Those are 5 minutes.
You are still focused in physical form, aren't you? I'm not hallucinating.
And the
Hey,
big
when that happens.
what happened here wasn't just the blue light, it was Seth's focus.
There's this very strange blonde being.
And only one head. Imagine that.
Welcome to the bathroom.
So there's the bath. There's the sink, original.
Yeah.
88 is when this house was built, and this is probably
This
original.
is real marble floor.
Yeah.
And this
This
is,
is subway tiles.
remember the house was built in 1888. A lot of this is original glass.
Mm-hmm.
This medicine cabinet is probably from the 1940s.
They are.
That's showered here because
Our plumber man said they can be made to work again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now,
So the only thing in here that's not original
remember
is the
now
toilet.
you can say you saw Ashara stepping out of the shower.
I'd be a lot more impressed if she was soaking wet, but
When we open the house again for the next party, who knows what could happen.
One will be stepping out of the shower.
So cabinets. Here's the thing I think is so cute. This has to have been here long before Jane and Rob. It's a broom holder.
And it says so.
Yeah, it says so, broom holder. When I was a little girl, my grandfather had one of these. And it's like, as soon as I saw that the first time, I almost wanted to cry. And it's still here. Jane and Rob used this. And so did people probably in the 1800s. I mean, this is, some of the stuff here is just like, you just stop. It's like, it's still here. Like, this is old-fashioned electric plug, probably a fire hazard. Only 2 things, no ground. That's
Right.
what you plug the refrigerator into. See the exciting things we think about here at the Seth House? So much repair was done. We'll tell you some other time about it. Look at this old mirror.
Cool mirrors.
And it's
Yeah, beveled.
This is really old, also probably as old as the house because there's all kind of paint splotches behind it. Every color this bathroom ever was.
I gotta say, that must have been an expensive mirror because we had mirrors that old in our house and they all were tainted.
Yes.
There was water got behind them and all discoloration.
Behind the silvering.
That looks just about perfect.
It is.
And remember, Jane, Rob, and Seth looked in all 3 of these mirrors. They're still here. You can too. This beautiful
Leaded glass. Leaded.
Yeah.
Still here, still what they looked out of and opened and everything. These are plastic. Love them. Dollar Tree, $1 each.
They're really silk. This is the bedroom.
This is
Peggy.
Peggy the Pegasus. And
Did not belong to Jane. This is Oshara's.
this is how we decorate. Seth said, when you sleep, have your head pointing north. We do that. That is north.
Yes.
Here's their closet. It happens to be open this time. Look at the weird closet bar they have. Someone's flushing the toilet. We inspired you by our bathroom toilet. But look at this. This was their closet. This is where Jane hung her clothes. These drawers still have the old.
Oh, they have 1800 drawer pulls.
Still here.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. It's kind of dark in here.
And shelves. But
I'm
yeah,
backing
this,
up, backing
but
out of the
this and
closet.
old hooks.
Yeah.
Old hooks still here. Weird shop, you know. We painted it dreamy blue.
Now, last week after I got in this room, we kind of lost signal. So I'll show you from here. This is Rob's art studio. So those windows used to wrap all the way around, but they've been, you know, 2 of the walls have been taken down now in sheetrock.
So these are the original windows. It used to be like a goldfish hole. We want to get, we were told you can get more of these windows to finish making this all the kind of windows. So that's how it was before. You can look at the backyard and see a really wrecked.
This is the carriage house out there.
And it used to have horses and buggies living out there. 6-car garage, 4 bedrooms on top, 4-bedroom apartment, and that's where the Spaziani family lived.
Yep.
And where they had the Ouija board hidden for all those years. And yes, this is Rob's art studio. None of the furniture is original, but we've heard that Rob kind of had his drafting table kind of in the middle of the room.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very inspiring room to be in. We're not done restoring this yet, but look at the ceiling.
We took down 2 false ceilings to get to this.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
It was moldy, it was leaking. We had to, buckets rained in here.
Well, right here it was really bad. There was some kind of event.
So we fixed the ceiling so it doesn't leak anymore. And you know, we know that just a nice paint, the same color will be nice.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is that room original to the house?
The porch, it used to be a sitting porch or a sleeping porch, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this room, there's nothing underneath it. It's being held up by 2 poles outside.
Yeah, this is just jutting out of the house.
And there's nothing above us either.
Below, or to the side.
So the energy is quite amazing. It's like you're floating in air.
This is floating. And this is where it's, you know, Jane channeled in this room too. Jane channeled in every room. You'll say, okay, well, Jane channeled in my art studio today because of the weather or whatever it was in the house.
So when we first saw it, this brown paneling was covering all the yellow. So we thought the yellow might have been what was originally here. We're not sure.
But we were definitely told that the brown paneling was maybe only 15 years old. So we thought, bring it down and let's find out what's underneath. And this is what we found. So this might have been the wall he had then. And we're going to, you know, touch up the paint to match and stuff. It was all hardwood floor, but now it's mostly linoleum, except in the bathroom.
Big, sticky linoleum that's hooked by little nails.
Yeah, like the ceiling would leak, the linoleum would curl, so they nailed down the linoleum rather than fix it.
They did the same thing in the bedroom. You can see the little nails.
Yeah,
on the corners.
All the linoleum has nails because it leaked in these 2 rooms dreadfully.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it horrible? Yeah. And then we came and made it all better.
We tried.
And we're glad you did.
Yes.
Yeah. And here, let me.
So when Jane talked about the, she talked about the, what did you call it? The trellis that went out.
Oh.
And that was, so you can see there's 2 like buildings and that little space in between, it used to jut out there.
Yeah, there used to be a garden going out there, and then the neighbor, an optometrist, bought the garden and made a parking lot.
Yeah.
But when Jane lived here, it was a gorgeous garden. There's pictures of the garden. But you see, now there's like a strip of green grass, I guess, and the important crack we needed to end the phone pole and stuff. But this is where it happened, and the view has changed a little. But the energy really is here. If you sit, it's just remarkable to sit here reading a Seth book and go, oh my God, it happened here. And we had our Seth discussion groups meeting here before the current event happened, which caused us to broadcast live like now.
Okay, so question, do we know where the fridge was in the bathroom? We think we know because there's only one
There's only one outlet, so it had to have been next to the toilet.
Oh, no. No wonder Seth didn't like that.
Yeah, the outlet, toilet, space
Right.
for refrigerator.
Right.
That's got to be one of the most. Sorry. That's got to be one of the most famous refrigerators in the world by now, I would think.
Oh my God. Think about it. If Ron could have only bought that refrigerator, we'd have it today, you know? There she is. And there we are. And you've had, some of you, it's your first tour, some of you, you've had a few, but it's
wonderful.
And here, I'll show you, we have,
Oh.
this is a closet. As soon as you walk in, you turn right and there's a closet. And we have made that into an international library. These are all books from China and Taiwan that were donated by the publisher there. And here, 2 magazines in German that were given to us. And if you hold this, Kate, I want to show them. So you wonder what this is. It's a UFO. No, this is in the bathroom originally. Right? Perfect. Okay. This was the electrical.
In the bedroom.
In the bedroom, that's right. In the bedroom with a light bulb, this was what was there. It was a bare naked light bulb. This is so old. This is like Art Deco.
Oh.
And this must have been what Jane looked at every morning, every night when she went to sleep and had her dreams, is this old antique light fixture. So we pulled it down to preserve it because it's already busted, you know.
Yeah.
So, but this was the light fixture in her bedroom, and there it is. And so, you know, we take this stuff seriously. Every little thing we find is like, oh my God, this was here when she was here, when Seth was here. So I guess we must be museum archive thinking kind of people.
We're trying.
That this is so important, that everything is saved and honored. Yeah, that light. I'm going to close this. Keep talking to him, Kate.
It's bright.
So they always have a beautiful sunset here.
Oh, yeah.
You're practically sitting in the lap of the sunset.
Well, you can leave them open if we're facing that way.
Yeah, it's burning me up though, too. We're like hot.
Yeah, you guys can see you're flushed.
Am I flushed? Okay. Okay.
Someone flushed.
Boy, did I exercise.
Yeah. Guys, give her a workout.
Okay. Round of applause for the tour. Hey, come on. Great tour.
The sunset.
Thank you again, Oshara.
Thank you.
More.
Okay, let's return to everybody being equal here.
Right.
Woo. All right.
All right. So we have been speaking since 4 o'clock till 7 o'clock, so that's 3 hours.
And we were aiming to end at 7 o'clock tonight because we're exhausted. You know,
it's midnight here.
It's midnight. Okay. All right. Well, you guys are amazing, really. Oshara and I have had, you know, Ned and I were going to connect and do some testing, and we didn't do that. We've had the most craziest week ever. We cleaned our cellar and garage. We set up the garage to be Oshara's art studio, and then we got rains, and it flooded it.
Which is perfect. It cleaned the floor beautifully. Thank you, nature, for cleaning our floor.
And we also found there was about 30 leaks in the ceiling, in the roof.
Oh.
So my son-in-law came over and he did a lot of patching for me, and you know, we cleaned everything up. And then this morning we woke up to no hot water.
The hot water heater in the basement blew, and another flood.
Another flood.
Cleaning the cellar floor. Thank you, nature. The cellar floor is clean too.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
So while we were doing that, we decided, well, you know what? That looks like a little bit of mold on that wall. Let's cut it out. So we cut out the wallboard, and so we've been working like crazy. And we painted. We painted the
laundry room and the garage.
And the cellarway staircase.
Wonder Woman, we can do it. God. We can do it.
So we're gonna take it easy here.
This is the easiest part of our week, is talking to our friends and family. And so
crazy.
I love you guys. I really do. boom, we're going right to talking about Seth, and it's like we're connecting on that level so quickly, and I love this. And we're doing it once a week right now, and I hope to see this grow to more often. Because for those of you who don't know, we have been meeting most of the time for 5 hours, from like 4 to 9 or 4 to 8:30.
Wow.
We don't want to end. We just keep finding more things to say. But this time we're going to say we need to get a pizza.
Yeah.
And,
and you know, our local people that
we did manage to get to the pizza parlor last night.
We did.
Before they,
Just made it. We were
Good, good. I was worried about you guys.
we could get our pizza. That was really nice of them.
But our local group, so one of the girls was asking, are we going to do any reading? This is all about just open discussion, but we may in the future.
Meaning like a specific book study group where we just read the book and discuss the book.
So we may do that, but this we're going to keep. The other
it's
thing
open
is,
discussion. This will always be open discussion.
Let's do something Friday for Jane's birthday. Let's just, I mean,
announcement.
Yeah, why don't we do something Friday? Let's get you know, just maybe whatever.
Party.
Everybody can go to the store and buy a cupcake, and we'll have a cupcake on Jane.
Jane, sounds good to me.
I don't know.
Well, you know, if you want to, you can have a watch party on Facebook and watch the Seth video or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's something you could do if you wanted to.
Yes, Jane's birthday.
Let's think about it.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Watch Facebook, and if you guys have any ideas, post them to Facebook, and we'll just hash it out a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
You know what? Tonight I'll make a post, and it'll be something like, "What do we want to do for Jane's birthday?" And then
the Zoom generation.
Yeah. And we'll see, because we can't get together this year.
Look, Kate, there's where you were sitting. There's a ray of light.
Woo! Honey, it's not.
It's not moving.
It's not moving.
It's not. There, now it's moving.
Oh, wow.
It's a delay. Anyway. No, I'm only kidding. But it's not about phenomena. It's about the reality of Seth and the reality of everything that happened here and how it started here and all over the world.
Like Mickey said, she could feel that energy even
I
the
can.
planet. You know, it's incredible when you're in the room and when you read his words.
I can imagine what it's like to be sitting in that space.
The first time I did class
and reading, like we're all in the room.
ESP.
And when we come to a place in the book where there's Rob's darn notes, and he says, and then there's something in the bay windows, and we can all look up and say, those bay windows.
Those bay windows.
He's describing a place, whatever, and we can say, here. And just when we read it, and when he's talking about these things about space or time, and we can say, here. He said it here, and it just reverberates for everybody. That you know what I mean? But oh my God, if here,
yeah. True that.
So thank you all for coming. This was so nice.
It is. It's very nice.
I put a link to my Smashwords page. I forgot to paste in the link. I just put in the message I was going to, and then I think I didn't hit enter or something. Anyway, so I just put it in there.
Oh, good.
So adding it now, and please do see our website if you haven't for a while.
I see it.
Yeah, thesethhouse.com is our website. You must all know our Facebook page because that's how you got here, most of you. And, support this place if you can. You know, we do the PayPal, the whatever. We have a donate page, whatever. And then you can be on our donor wall and get a little gift packet we send out to people.
And hopefully I get some out this week.
She's a little behind.
I am.
Packages.
I owe Mickey one.
My lips are sealed.
You're on my list.
That's the first.
Are you still waiting for your pink chip? Still waiting for your paint chip, Mickey?
Yes.
The paint chip came from this window.
Oh, man.
Hey, that's right. You never told me where my paint chip came from.
And I was the scraper.
We have video of her. She's the one who scraped the paint off the window.
Okay.
I'm the one who picked it up like it was.
Duly framed and cherished.
You know, I hold the bag of paint chips like it's the most holy relic in the world.
It is.
So,
It
Kate, are you
is.
the scraper in chief?
That's
She didn't
fine.
hear you.
That's fine. Whenever is fine.
Eventually.
Paint chip with a provenance.
Yes. I will definitely be framing it.
In a little clear plastic box, and it says on the box, "This is a paint chip from."
Oh,
from
good.
the paint
Oh,
chip
good.
that window right there. So
I have a series of boxes that are clear plastic, and I keep all my crystals in them. So it can go in there with the crystals.
Well,
There you go.
Now.
It'll energize the crystals for you.
Yeah.
and they're very friendly.
You
They get along
know,
with
you know
everybody.
what? The clear coin holders.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what we're using.
Yeah, we got
Yes.
these coin holders at the hobby store.
That's
They're
perfect.
We
Yeah.
put a
Yeah.
little green felt in there, green invoking the color of the building. but
That's
green.
perfect.
And then it's just the perfect container for these because it holds them just right so they don't shake too much. So it's the coin holder, green felt, and a
Yeah.
paint chip from that window that she peeled them and I put them in the plastic bag.
That is fantastic.
And so every donor gets one of those eventually. When we catch up.
Actually, there's only been one person that didn't receive it, and I got to get her out another bunch.
Yeah, so we're on top of it.
We
You know,
are.
it's like
That's fine. There's no rush.
the thing too with donating is sometimes they don't give us their address, their snail mail.
Oh,
We have to
yes.
chase them down. Please give us
Yeah.
your and they're like, why do you want to know where we live? Because we want to see you. We're gonna just be outside your window waiting for them. Maybe that's why people aren't giving us their address, I guess. But they're sending postage, so fucking.
Everybody's too
If they're that
paranoid.
paranoid, they wouldn't appreciate the paint chip anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, true that. True that.
They say, well, it's probably got lead in it. Wait, trying to poison me?
Toxic.
Maybe we should say warning, do not eat or something. But we do all love our fellow Seth friends and family and people who
Yeah, it is such a nice vibe. It really is. Yeah. Thanks to both of you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's a special.
All of you, actually.
and the blue light. Yeah.
And the blue light.
That was too cool.
That was cool.
I know. You know what? Play that back. Play that back because there are no coincidences. You know, we're laughing it off. We're saying it's lens flare. You think about that.
We'll post this on our YouTube channel.
Oh,
It was a
yeah.
lens flare with a purpose.
Yes.
Does anybody ever remember a song that was popular, God, probably back in the 50s or maybe 60s, called The House of Blue Lights?
No.
That was
Oh, it's a
And that's my
wonderful
time.
R&B.
I mean, you know, I do remember those songs, but that one eluded me.
Oh, look it up. It's probably on YouTube someplace. House of Blue Lights. It's
Okay.
a kind of an R&B thing.
Oh, okay.
And I had the honor of working right alongside of the band that recorded it many years later. I was working a guitar vocal single. I worked happy hour and they took over at 9 o'clock and did the dance thing. And after I'd been there a couple of weeks, or they'd been there a couple of weeks, we finally got to talking and it turned out they were the people that did the house. It was always one of my very favorite songs.
I'll have to check that out. I
don't know.
heard of
I don't know if it was a restaurant. Ribs, barbecued ribs, and the song. It was in Detroit. I don't know whether there ever really was a place like that.
Which reminds me that maybe in July or this summer, Kate and I might be going to California. So everyone in California, if we have your address, I'll be looking in your window when you're naked. I won't let her. She won't let
Promise. You're not just teasing, are you?
No. We are starting to put that out there. We're thinking
We
of
are
going to
thinking
California this summer. I used to live there for many a year, Northern and Southern California.
Oh.
I love California. I think I spent most of my life. I am a California girl.
Okay.
And,
Are you in Northern California, Oshara?
oh, I lived in Berkeley. I lived in Mill Valley. I lived in San Francisco in the north. And in Southern California, I lived in Malibu and West Hollywood and all over. Yeah, Northern, Southern, I'm on it. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're probably going to go out sometime this summer because she's never seen it and I'm the one to show her. And we have some Seth friends out there too that we want to catch up with. So just saying, when we go out there, we want to make the rounds. So Shauna, if anybody would like to meet who lives out there, Shauna.
I do.
My thing is, I was always in New York.
Family,
Shauna, she is so good about it. Just flipping that right in.
Subtle me, and be polite and all that shit. Yeah.
So, Charlotte, how long were you in Marin County?
Oh, years off and on. I loved Tiburon the best. I lived in Tiburon for about 4 years. It's just it's beautiful.
I spent several months in a consulting job there back in the early 80s, and I started out living in Nevada in a motel for a couple of weeks. That got kind of expensive for my employer.
Yeah.
And I found a place in San Anselmo.
And San Anselmo's gorgeous. I lived in Mill Valley, and I lived
and the office was in Somerville, so I drove that. And then my dad lived in San Francisco, so I drove across the Golden Gate Bridge. Very often.
I've never seen California. I went to school in New Mexico in Albuquerque, but I never got to California.
Oh, you missed everything. You missed everything.
I did. I missed everything.
I'm wearing a San Jose t-shirt, sweatshirt.
Okay, there you go.
From New York.
That's from New York. I drove from
New York.
New York.
New York.
That's me.
I spent 17 years in New York. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Oh, really?
That's
You're
when I
London
talked to Jane on the phone. Was
So
when
you
I was
talked to
in New
Jane?
York.
Oh, you
never
did.
got to get out of here. You talked to Jane
Yeah.
on the phone?
Yeah. Several times.
Forget the time. Tell us everything.
Yeah.
Somebody else mentioned recently that they just looked up in a phone book.
There's not,
they
yeah,
have
that's
their
what I
phone
was saying the other week. I was channeling and I was very freaked out about it because I was early 20s. And I started out with a Ouija board. I was in Cuba, living in Cuba, and I had a Ouija board. And once that started, it led me into channeling. But I was so freaked out about it because I didn't know anyone else I could talk to. So when I lived in New York, when I got there, I said, well, I had just, read Seth. And I said, I'm going to ask her, how does she handle it? What's it like? What do you do? Et cetera. Tell me something because it's freaking me out. And that's when I realized that she was in the phone book. I just looked it up and dialed. And she was very helpful. And Rob was on the phone for a few moments, and she pointed me to Rod, what's his name, Stack, his first name, Ron Stack, I forget.
Rick Stack.
That's it, Rick Stack. So I had a girlfriend who was a good friend of Tam Mossman. And she and I and another playwright friend of mine in New York, we all got together and went every week to Rick's house where he was doing the classes.
Right.
And so when the New York boys would come back, then they do a little class thing and tell us what had happened, And that was how I got in deep into it,
How did she give you any specific advice about channeling?
Well, she was just saying that I needed to relax and not be freaked out and just let it develop. She said, there's nothing to be afraid of. Just let it develop. I said, okay. And I just went with it.
That's amazing.
My entity was called Pax, which means peace.
Peace, yeah.
And that was wonderful. I mean, I didn't continue it forever and ever, but it went on for about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years, something like that.
Wow.
And then the rest of, like getting into the Seth materials and all of that changing of your thinking and understanding the hugeness of the universe, the hugeness of the idea of the everything,
Yeah.
That the more that developed, the less I found myself needing to channel, because everything I wanted to ask my personality was being explained in the Seth books.
Without channeling.
Yes,
Jane did the
exactly.
channeling for you, yeah.
I didn't need to anymore.
Wow.
It was wonderful.
How long were you talking with Jane on the phone? She was so
Oh,
gracious.
just a matter of 10 or 15 minutes each time. There were about 2 or 3 times, and it was just short stuff, really.
You ought to consider getting in touch with Mary Dillman, because she's looking for people who knew Jane and Rob, you know, who's crossed paths with her.
Knowing them, quote unquote. I mean, just to have spoken to her a couple of times on the phone and gotten some, you know, some help, some psychological and emotional reinforcement. You know, that's really what that was about. And it was just wonderful. And then years later, I've gotten a couple of postcards from Rob, you know, over the years. And I've kept those. But it was just simple.
We would love to see them.
I know. To find them.
How great.
I have to dig all that up. I was thinking about it the other day, and I have to really, now I have to find the stuff I have.
Get your shovel out and get to work.
I think that Mary Dillman would love to hear from you and hear whatever stories you can remember or that you would like to, you know, tell.
And if you
I think so too. I'm sure she would.
If you can put postcards on our Facebook page, you'll get 100 people commenting saying thank you.
Yeah. Well, I have to find it because, as I said, it's part of the few things I brought with me when I left America. I have had storage there for 20 years.
I was in California for 10 years. Yeah, I know what that's like.
Who knew? You know, I'll get this little space for a few months until I can bring it over. And then I discovered it cost me $8,000 to bring everything over. So.
Yeah, me too. Now, what you're saying though, how gracious they were with their time. A stranger calls and she counsels you and encourages you. A few times.
Just like that. Just, you know,
this is how they work.
Dial up and she's, oh, hello.
Oh, yes, this is Jane. Hi, I'm starting to channel. Oh, let's talk. You're doing great. Yeah.
You know, it was, I think, I'm trying to remember because it was 40 some years ago, but if I recall, it was after a session she had done. She had just finished entertaining everyone who came for the sessions and so forth, you know, so she had a few minutes or whatever. And we weren't on there very long. And Rob said, well, you know, she's very tired. And so I'm going to tell her, you know, that we have to draw this to a close, but we'll speak again another time. And it was that kind of thing. Yeah. But she just, as you say, she was so generous with her encouragement. And I will never forget her stressing that you simply relax and focus. And channeling is so easy. It's just, that's what blew my mind, was that it was so easy. The matter of kind of opening a space in your head. And then there it is, you know.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That just brought it all home.
Yeah.
And
feels like what is it? The 6 degrees of separation.
Yes.
Whenever I hear one person who talked to Jane, I feel like I'm talking to someone who talked to Jane.
Yes.
Separation was before the internet.
Yeah.
I think maybe exactly. 3 now.
Yeah, really, I think so. I think so.
Like 1 degree. We're
the fact that we have found each other after all these years. I would have never thought that I'd be speaking to someone who was in the house itself.
So is this your first time seeing this at house?
Yes.
Is it your first time? Okay.
Oh, well, no, I saw it that time when I was on the internet watching. I mean, on Facebook watching, and we didn't have any view of each other.
Like a couple weeks ago or something.
Yeah, I was just typing comments every now and then. But I was trying to be very unobtrusive and not interrupt.
We're so glad you are front and center, right where we want you to be.
Actually, on Facebook, I pinned you, so everybody is seeing and hearing what you're saying. You're pinned.
Oh my gosh!
Maybe we're gonna make you a star.
Yeah.
You can kiss your anonymity goodbye.
And we have your address now, so we'll be posting that.
Right.
Don't be surprised if you don't hear from Mary. I mean, if she watches these Facebook Live, she watched
Oh,
it.
yes, yes.
And
Okay. Well, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I'm just very, very, as we say over here, chuffed. I'm very happy to have been in connection with you and to feel the connection reopen from back then. And all the books and everything is sitting right in the room. And I'm starting to pull all of that stuff out. So many things like that are beginning to resurge in my life. So it's very interesting, like when I was speaking earlier about the astrology being mixed with Seth. And that was something that had crossed my mind as a real optimum thing to ever happen. I had no idea anyone had ever done it.
Well, now you know.
Yes, I'm so tickled.
And I gotta tell you a real short story about the title. It's About Time. The book was done. All the type was set, pasted up. This is back in the olden days when you used beeswax to paste the type set up. Anyway, everything was done except the title. And I was taking a film class that night, and I got there early, and I parked out in front of this theater where we had a film class. I'm listening to radio, and I don't know what I was thinking about, and the announcer on the radio said, "Well, it's time," and alarms went off in my head, and I thought, no, it's not time, it's about time. And then I realized there were 2 or 3 different meanings, and they all applied.
Yes.
The book is about time. It's about time somebody did this.
Yes.
And it's about time, not quite time, but almost.
Well, it's about time for all of this.
Yeah.
Just
perfect.
I think, especially now more than ever, it's about Seth. And it's about, now one thing as you were talking, Mickey, I'd like to meet Pax. So why don't you and Pax get talking again?
I don't know about that. I don't know. I think it's a thing whose time had come.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that I am meant to ever reopen that. So I'm not sure that I won't make a promise that I'll do that, because
and I shouldn't
it's
have
been
put it
over
that way.
25 years. That was when I was in Cuba, and it's a whole different lifetime. It's a couple of lifetimes since then. I've had career in entertainment and a career in all kinds of stuff since then. So who knows?
Just interesting, though, this is coming up, and I shouldn't have phrased it that way, but it'd be interesting if maybe some of your friends in high places might want to start catching up with you again sometime. And who
it would be interesting.
Now, what would come through you now would be very interesting to find out.
It would. I don't know. It may be that this is a stepping stone toward that segment of my life having a new iteration, so to speak. I don't know. I can't say it's not, and I won't say that it is, but it's an interesting idea that you brought up.
And this new chapter opening up for everybody's got a new chapter opening up in their lives now.
Truly, yeah. Life is very different.
Very interesting. Everybody's life is changing for the better. It is. The whole way that I ended up here is a whole other story. And, like I said, I created this very consciously. I wrote it all out.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I made a list of what I wanted my life to be, what I wanted it to be right now. And it's actually everything I had on the list. I was told to focus creating, manifesting, and to focus on what you wanted, to be very specific. And a lot of us got together to be specific. Yes. And we got together to be very specific about what we needed, and especially in terms of a romantic life. I was ending a marriage and, going into a new life. And everybody else had written this it was a tiny little notebook like that, a little small thing. And they had written a thing down. I had 12 small pages.
You're right. You're writing your future autobiography. Yeah.
I wrote down a description of the man I wanted next. And absolutely everything on there, retired, English, blah, 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 and travel, and the whole thing. It was everything on the list, and a couple of things I'd forgotten. Put in.
Show off.
So I have very strong feelings about what the bringing the Seth information into your life. If you really do focus on it and pay attention. Open up to the idea that you create your own reality. Well, be specific about doing that.
Yes.
And you really can.
Yes.
You really can.
Yes, and doing
You know,
it.
I'm living it. You can't tell me it's not possible because I'm living it. I'm 20 years into it.
Yes.
We had our 20th anniversary, so it's possible. And I've never known anything quite like it. It's just the most magical connection. You know?
And here you are.
Yeah.
You mean your relationship with your husband?
Yeah, it's fabulous. You can meet him next time. He kept asking me, "What are you laughing about? What are you talking about?" Because I have the headphones on. Next time, I'll let you see him. He will probably say hello.
So you'll bring him to show and tell like Ron.
Is he a
Look what I
Sethy too?
created. Yeah.
Is he a Sethy too, Mickey?
Huh?
Is he a Sethy too?
No, he's not.
Is he Christian?
In terms of, is he what?
Is he Christian?
No, we're both Buddhists.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think you were.
But it's just he's just never particularly gotten into it. But he's very much open to the idea of an expanded awareness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just a beautiful person.
Nice.
Beautiful person. Yeah.
Sweet.
So you'll meet him another time.
You know, I'm a true believer. We have two
He's
relationships.
89 and I'm 73. So
Robin the Great.
We all have two relationships with everybody, including ourselves. And one is with who they are, and the other one is what they do.
yes. Yeah.
And if you think there's one relationship, then you can get into something they call love-hate. But what it really is, I love who you are, and I hate some of the things you do.
Yeah.
And when you see it as two things, you don't have that gear-grinding crunch between love and hate.
Yeah.
They're both still there.
Agree.
but
I
they're
agree.
kind of
Because
separate.
my ex-husband and I are still very close friends.
Which means you still love who you are.
That time had come for us to do different things. But
Yeah.
we are still quite friendly, and you know, it's all amicable and wonderful.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Sure
have
sign
to
of-
be vitriolic.
That too is a choice.
Sure sign of sanity.
Yeah.
It too is a choice of how we create our reality, how we choose to interact with everyone in our lives and keep it about love and friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I
this
just realized something when I was speaking about you meeting him next time. My profile picture is the two of us.
On
Okay.
Facebook.
Yeah, so it's on there.
So he's off the hook.
But this has been wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful what you're doing and how dedicated you are to it.
Thank you.
That deserves a lot of attention and a lot of kudos.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this group still getting 50, 80, 100 people a week signing up, new people?
It is slowed down somewhat, but
No.
we're still getting quite a few.
And the thing is, people come in and come out and come in and
Yeah.
come out because
Yeah.
of the schedules, and sometimes they need to sleep. Like I think we had
Right.
some in Australia who stayed up as long as she could.
Right.
And then
No, I'm talking about the Facebook group, not the Zoom.
Oh,
group.
the Facebook group is only
growing
growing. We
and
have over
growing.
1,500 people on
Yep.
our Facebook.
Yeah, the
page.
last time I looked, it was like 1,300.
Right.
Wow.
It wasn't that long ago.
100 people every week practically. So it's really, and more people posting stuff. I think we have the most exciting Facebook page on Facebook.
Absolutely. And
The only one I want to look at
I
anymore.
want to plug our YouTube channel too. So for anybody that's watching this to the end of YouTube, please click the like button, subscribe, certainly leave comments, whatever you want to do.
She's sounding just like one of those YouTube people.
I will upload it maybe later tonight, but definitely tomorrow I will get this